I don't know which one to watch. I don't know, I'll do
Today, I'm going to share 3 progressively more disturbing stories.
Not me. Hello, hello, Jose. Hello, hello. How are you guys? Beep them. Hello. Gonna watch some Mr. Ballen.
And at the end of each of them, I will share the video that is famously associated with them. But before we get into today's stories, if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious...
It hasn't came out. Oh, okay. This is so... I don't know why it does that. Wait. Oh, okay. Thank you. Sorry, I'm trying to... I'm good, how are you? Not me. Then let me pin this. Okay. I heard this. Yay, using the doggies. Breezy, hello, hello, how are you? Wapang, hello. How are you? Going good. It's a crazy storm, like kind of far from here. You can see it. It's cool.
delivered in
You can watch some Mr. Ballen.
story format, and you've come to the right channel because that's all we do, and we upload 3 or 4 times every week. So if that's of interest to you, please replace the like button's sleeping pills with caffeine pills right before their 14-hour plane ride from Hawaii to Okinawa, Japan.
What if I make
Also,
it a
please
little bit
subscribe to our
fast?
channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of our weekly uploads. All right, let's get into today's stories.
Fast forwarded. Is this the newest one? No. I didn't see that I forgot.
In June of 2018, 18-year-old straight-A student Tyler Turner graduated from his high school in Central California. In the fall of that year, he was scheduled to go to the University of California, Merced with a full scholarship. He planned to study biochemical engineering because he was born with cerebral palsy.
Is this too fast? He uploaded today. Too fast? Okay, sorry.
And wanted to help other people with the condition. In August of that year, one of Tyler's friends said they wanted to go skydiving to celebrate their birthday. Tyler was nervous about it, but he had never done it before and figured, you know what, it'll be fun, I'll do it. His mother, Francine, who was very close with her son, was very nervous about her son jumping out of a plane, and so she asked if she could tag along to provide moral support and maybe take some pictures, and he said that was fine. So on the 6th of the month, Tyler and his mother hopped in the car and drove over an hour north to the Lodi Parachute Center, where they met up with Tyler's other 3 friends. They were all very nervous, but very excited. So the group went inside the main building, and Tyler went up to the counter, and he paid $100 for a single tandem jump from 13,000 feet. A tandem jump is when 2 people jump together under one parachute.
Damn, 13,000
and so most
feet
commonly,
is
you're going to have
high.
the instructor who's got the parachute on his or her back, and then on their chest, harnessed at 4 different points, is going to be their student or whoever they're jumping with, and they don't have a parachute. They're just tethered to the instructor who has the parachute. And so in this case, Tyler would be strapped onto his instructor. And so the advantage for Tyler as a first-time jumper is is that he would not need to do anything once they're in free fall. The instructor would be 100% in control of keeping them steady in the air, of pulling the parachute, of dealing with any malfunctions, of flying the canopy, and of landing. It's all done by the instructor. After paying, Tyler and his mother walked over and met his instructor, the guy he'd be strapped onto. It was a 25-year-old man named Young Kwan who told him he had jumped over 700 times. And so Young told Tyler that he needed to watch a safety video before they did anything else. And so Tyler and his mother walked into the room, they sat down, the TV turned on, and a very simple safety video came on. And partway through it, another instructor walked in and just turned it off and told Tyler and his mother, you've seen enough, you guys can go. Francine was a little bit alarmed at this behavior because it seemed odd to skip over safety when you're jumping out of a plane for the first time, but she figured, you know what, they must know what they're doing, I'm sure it's fine. Just before 10 a.m., Young helped Tyler
Oh my god, I don't even want to know.
Get into his tandem jump harness that would allow him to connect onto Young's chest. And then afterward, Tyler walked over to his mom, gave her a big hug, told her he loved her, and then he departed his mother and walked his way over to the staging area where he and the other jumpers, that included his friends, were waiting for the plane to start so they could actually board. While they waited, Tyler was really nervous, and his instructor picked up on it, and so to put Tyler at ease, he began filming Tyler and interviewing him about his upcoming jump to kind of make light of the whole situation, and it seemed to work.
My name is Tyler Turner.
What are you doing here?
I am gonna jump out of a plane.
It's your first time.
First time indeed. That's my mom over there. Hello. Very loving mom. Done a lot for me in my life. Hope more that she'll help me with more of my life, because I want to make it. Okay, we're gonna make it.
After they recorded this video, the plane was ready to go, so it was time to start boarding. And so Tyler and his instructor walked over, but Tyler stopped on the tarmac. He took a knee and prayed, and then he stood back up, he turned to his mother, he waved one more time, and then he boarded the plane. After a little while, the plane took off, and then after a little while longer, it was up at 13,000 feet, flying in circular patterns. And that's when Francine started looking up, looking for her son, and at some point she started seeing jumpers come out of the plane. And they were so far away, she couldn't possibly make out who was who. And so as the jumpers began pulling their parachutes, and all the different colored parachutes are lighting up the sky, she was trying to remember what color her son's parachute was, but she couldn't remember. And so she asked the other people that were watching, that were relatives or friends of the people up there, if they knew what color her son's parachute was, but nobody knew. As they got lower and lower, and you could actually start to make out who the jumpers were, she didn't see her son. And that's because her son's parachute never opened, and unfortunately his instructor, Yang, was not able to fix the malfunction or fire off the reserve, and so they both crashed into the ground, killing them both instantly. Tyler's family sued the owner of the parachute facility after they discovered Tyler's instructor, Yang, was not even certified to be an instructor, and so would not have received any of the required training on how to handle parachute malfunctions, and the owner knew about it. Investigators also discovered that 20 people had died skydiving at this facility under the same owner, a ridiculously high number of fatalities that most people involved are attributing to the owner's general disregard for safety. And ultimately,
Are you serious? That's horrible. Mayad, hello, how are you?
a judge agreed with that sentiment and awarded the Turner family $40 million from the owner of this facility.
That's horrible.
In 1962, Chelino Sanchez was born into a poor
I know.
family in the Mexican state of Sinaloa. When he was just 15 years old, one of his sisters was assaulted by a very rich and powerful man in their town, and so he never got punished for it. 2 years later, when Chelino was 17, he saw this man at a party, and he walked up to him and shot him in the head, killing him instantly. After the murder, Chelino fled to Tijuana before ultimately crossing the US border into Los Angeles, where he stayed with his aunt. He worked odd jobs like picking vegetables and selling cars before he ultimately went into business with his brother, who was back in Mexico, and he worked with him to smuggle Mexicans into the US. But that operation stopped in 1984 when his brother was murdered in Tijuana. To commemorate his brother, Chelino, who always loved music, wrote a song about him. And he formatted the song in the typical Mexican ballad style
Hi,
called
by the way, Northern
corrido,
Lights.
but his lyrics were graphic and gritty, something nobody else did when they wrote a corrido. Chelino spoke honestly and openly, not only about how his brother was killed, but also the struggles of living around drug trafficking and violence in Mexico. Shortly after writing the song, Chelino wound up in jail in Tijuana, Mexico, and while he was there, he would sing the song he wrote about his brother, and other inmates heard it and loved it. They had never heard a corrido sung like that. And so they asked Chelino if he would write songs about them and their exploits. Soon, Chelino was being commissioned by all these inmates in this prison to write their songs in exchange for money and for favors. When Chelino got out of prison, his unique songwriting abilities had spread beyond the
Really? I've never heard of him.
prison walls
Juan, hello, hello.
to other criminals and drug traffickers and kingpins in Mexico, and before long, Chelino was being approached by those people to write their songs. His corridos pioneered a new subgenre of music called narco corrido for their ties to the narcotics industry. Some people today compare the style and lyrics of the narco corrido to gangster rap. By 1987, Chelino's music was not just being shared amongst his paying clients. It had spread into Los Angeles and all over Mexico and was becoming very popular, even though it wasn't being played on the radio because radios thought his lyrics were too graphic. And so it was spreading largely because of word of mouth and because Chelino himself would go to car washes and street corners and he would sell his cassettes to anybody who would take them. By 1991, Chelino was so famous that he actually went on tour, and everywhere he went, the venue would be complete.
No way. You met Tupac? What? Johnny, hello, how are you? I'm good, thank you, Mark. I'm happy you're doing good too.
Completely sold out. But
I've
given
never
what
heard
his
of him.
narco corridos were about, largely about drug trafficking and the people that are involved in that ecosystem, the people that would actually come to his performances were often rough and dangerous people, or were at least tied to rough and dangerous people. In 1992, when Chelino was performing in California, while he was on stage, this 33-year-old guy rushed onto stage with him and drew a gun on him, and Chelino, who was always carrying a weapon himself, drew his pistol and fired at this guy first. And then what ensued was this crazy gunfight on stage, practically point blank,
Oh my
between
God.
Chelino and this guy. And they both managed to shoot each other. Chelino got shot in the lung, and this guy got shot in the mouth. They would both survive.
Oh my
but
gosh.
8 audience members also got shot, and one of them actually died. This made international headlines and, by all accounts, should have devastated Chelino's career. But in fact, it had the opposite effect. It made him 10 times more famous because Chelino, he was representing narco corrido music. And so in being the face of that, he kind of represented drug trafficking and criminals and outlaws all over Mexico and in the United States. And so he was kind of representing a very tough group of people. And so for him to have stood his ground on stage and shot first at this guy coming to attack him, it made him look brave. It made him look like a warrior. It validated him as the right person to be the face of narco corridos. But Chelino also understood that this probably was not the last time that someone was going to try to hurt him. That in virtue of being the face of narco culture, there's bound to be people that are very violent that don't like him, and they might come after him too. And so he actually told his inner circle that he thought his days were numbered, that at some point someone was going to kill him. 4 months after the shootout, Chelino was back home
Corridos.
in Sinaloa, Mexico, performing at a concert that his friends had told him he shouldn't do because he had lots of enemies in his hometown. But Chelino
Cameron,
really
thank
wanted
you
to
for
do it. He
subscribing.
got into the venue, he got on stage, his band was getting ready, thousands of people were coming into the audience, and before the show started, somebody handed him a note. And so Chelino takes the note, he's smiling, he's kind of looking around at the crowd, and then he looks down at the note and he reads it, and right away his expression completely changes. He looks distressed, he rubs his brow, he frowns, he kind of looks up at the crowd like he's looking for someone, and then he just goes blank in the face, and he's looking out like he's looking past the crowd. And it's this long
Doritos.
period of time where he's just blank staring into the audience. And then all of a sudden he just snaps out of it, takes the note, puts it in his pocket, picks up the microphone, and proceeds to give one of his best live performances to date. After the concert was over, Chelino made a special effort to say bye to everybody in his band, and he said bye to some people in the crowd, and then finally, after this kind of long, drawn-out goodbye, he walked out the back door. Shortly after, he was kidnapped, tied up, and then shot in the back of the head, execution style. It would turn out that note he received on stage was from his killers, who we don't know exactly who they are still to this day, but the note said, after this performance, we're going to kill you. And so that was the reason Chelino was so distressed, because whoever it was, he obviously understood it was a credible threat. But instead of panicking, he just decided he would give an amazing performance and then face his destiny.
Why didn't he tell anybody? Taking me back with Chelino, time to crack a cold one. I actually never heard of him until now, which is crazy. Oh, good morning, James. How's everything in Finland? That's cool.
And so when he went
What a
outside,
gangster.
he knew he was going to get murdered. And he did. Here is the moment Chelino was handed that note on stage, informing him he had been marked for death.
Why didn't he tell anybody? What? That
Despite
sucks.
the fact that today there is already tons of shocking content on the internet, there is still something truly insane about Wu Yongning's videos. In 2017, Wu was a 26-year-old
Scope.
climbing enthusiast who was
How are
dubbed China's first rooftopper. A rooftopper is someone who, usually illegally, climbs onto rooftops, cranes, smokestacks, big antennas, skyscrapers, or any
There's-
other really high, dangerous location. Almost always, these daredevils are going to these incredibly dangerous locations in order to capture footage of themselves so they can post it to the internet in hopes that it goes viral and they become famous and make a bunch of money. But because there are so many
crazy.
people competing for the internet's attention, rooftoppers really need to push the envelope if they want to stand out and
Right.
make it big. And Wu Yongning did just that, and the internet rewarded him with millions of followers and hundreds of thousands of dollars. Most rooftoppers would go to the tops of these incredible locations and then take selfies of themselves standing there posing at the top. Wu would do that, but he also did a couple other things that nobody else was doing that kind of became his trademarks. The first one was he would dangle over the edge of the building or the crane or the antenna that he was holding onto, and he would do pull-ups, but he would keep doing them until he reached muscle failure and then would barely be able to pull himself back up to safety. Another trademark
in the
move is
name?
he would go to the top of these huge buildings and he would get right on the edge and he would do a handstand and then he would pull one arm back. So he's doing a one-armed handstand and then he would tilt his body as far as he could over the edge until he couldn't do it any farther and he'd let himself come back over to safety. And then perhaps the most difficult to watch trademark was when Wu would basically run up to the edge of buildings and stop just short. And he wouldn't just run to the edge, he would use a self-balancing scooter and go as fast as he could right to the edge of the building and stop just short. And over again, he'd go right to the edge and stop, where he's literally an
Okay,
inch
this
away
is
from
not gonna
tumbling
end
off the
well.
edge. Or he'd line himself up where he knew exactly how far he was from the edge.
Corridos. Right.
And he would do these really aggressive somersaults forward and he would stop with his legs dangling off the edge of the building. And of course, all of these trademark moves were done without any safety equipment, and most times Wu did these stunts without anybody there to potentially pull him back up if he gets stuck. About 3/4 of the way through 2017, Wu had posted over 500 videos and live streaming clips to various social media
Crazy.
sites, and he was starting to make some real money off of it. On one video sharing site alone, he had made over $80,000 just from donations that had come in. And so it was clear this was becoming a career. But as the money and the fame were coming into Wu, he started to realize that in order for him to stay on top and keep earning at this level, he would need to continuously outperform his last big stunt. And already he was brushing up against death on virtually every video he took. In early November of that year, Wu heard about a competition that was offering $15,000 to its winner. The details of this competition are hazy at best, but from the sounds of it, it was a viral video competition. Make the most viral video and you win the prize. This competition served as motivation for Wu to finally attempt his craziest stunt yet. He figured if he had the footage of this particular stunt, he was sure to win this competition, and with the prize money, he could pay for his wedding and cover his mother's medical expenses. And so on November 8th, Wu traveled to the Huaiyan International Center in central China. This massive 62-story skyscraper
I know,
would be
Mark.
the tallest building Wu had ever performed a stunt on. The public was only able to get up to the 44th floor, and so Wu had to take the elevator up to somewhere between the 40th and 44th floor, at which point he climbed out of a window and free climbed his way all the way up to the top.
Oh
So
my.
20 additional floors just climbing the side of a skyscraper. Once he got to the rooftop, he set up his tripod and his camera and he turned on his live stream. and then he walked around and he began preparing himself for the stunt. Live stream viewers that tuned in would see Wu sitting on the edge of the skyscraper, and he's meticulously wiping down the edge of this building. It's the area he'll be grabbing onto to perform his stunt, which was going to be his trademark pull-ups. And so after several minutes of Wu cleaning this ledge, he begins to lower himself where his arms are still tucked up over the ledge. So he's not hanging, he's got his arms kind of anchored on the top. He's like testing the edge of this lip. And he kind of feels around and he can tell that it's not a good grip. It's not good enough for him to go down to a full extension. And so he pulls himself back up and he goes back to wiping down the edge. And from the looks of it, it seems like Wu is actually pretty nervous about this stunt. And normally when you watch Wu's videos, he doesn't seem nervous at all, even leading up to his stunt. But this one just seemed different. And so after again wiping down this ledge as much as he possibly could, he gets himself ready, lowers himself onto his arms, he lets his legs drop over the edge of the building, and then he goes to full extension. And from there, he does 2 complete pull-ups, and then after the second pull-up, he begins to try to pull himself back up to safety. But he's fatigued and he can't quite get himself up over the edge. He starts to use his feet to try to use the glass to push himself back up, but he can't get a grip. And for the next 15 seconds, Wu is desperately trying to get himself up and over this ledge. He's trying to muscle himself up, but it's obvious.
My hands are sweating.
He's completely fatigued.
This is terrible.
I mean, he did free climb almost 20 stories to get up there, and so it makes sense his arms would be tired. But there's nobody up there to help pull him up. And so after a while, he goes back to full extension because he can't do anything, and he looks down as if he's sizing up if he can survive this fall, which he obviously can't. And then the camera picks up a sort of whimpering sound that appears to come from Wu, and then he loses his grip and he falls to his death. Here is a segment of his final video right before he fell.
This is terrible. Oh my god. Oh my gosh.
So that's going to do it, guys. If you found the secret in
Terrible.
today's video, let us know in the comments what it is and
Jesus. Rise, hello, how are you? Right. Why would you do that? For money? For what? Like, it doesn't matter how much money you make if you're not gonna be there. Oh my god. It's terrible. Don't they have 2 parachutes if one malfunctions? Oh, this is a new one.
today I'm going to share
Like, no.
3 progressively more disturbing stories, and at the end of
Oh no.
each of them, I'm going to share the photo that is famously associated with them. But before we get into today's stories,
Oh,
if
he
you're a
didn't
fan
know
of the
how?
Strange, dark, and mysterious,
But the guy said that he had jumped like 700 times or something already. Duke, hello, how are you?
delivered in story format, then
Crazy.
you've come to the right place because that's all we do, and we upload 2 or 3 times every week.
You can't pay me enough to do that, right?
So if that's of interest to you,
Gosh.
please become a surgeon at the hospital located closest to where the like button lives, and then eventually, when the like button goes in for very minor outpatient surgery, accidentally perform a craniectomy on them. Also, please subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of our weekly uploads. All right, let's get into today's stories.
Really, Johnny? There was a crazy storm here. It was... I don't think I think it's done, but it wasn't like here. It was like a little bit farther away, so you can see all the lightning. But it was crazy. But yeah, always at least have a plan if something goes wrong, you know.
Just after midnight on June 17th, 1939, a crowd of people began to form outside of this unremarkable building in Versailles, which is a city in France. The atmosphere in this crowd was electric. They all knew why they were there. They
Okay,
knew
not
what
me.
they were about to see, but even still, there was
Oh, really, Johnny? That's crazy. Has it been raining a
a
lot?
lot of nervous
How dare.
anticipation. And so as such, some people were coping with these nerves by drinking alcohol and trying to laugh and have a good time, while others were much more subdued and were trying to be respectful about what they were about to witness. Between 1 and 2 a.m., the doors of this unremarkable building opened up, and a group of men dressed in the same dark uniforms came out and didn't say a word to the crowd, and the crowd immediately went silent and began to back away from them. And this group of men, they walked right out in front of this building, and they had lumber and they had tools with them, and they began constructing this kind of strange wooden structure. And so the crowd, they wanted to get up close to see what these guys were doing, but at the same time, they didn't want to get too close. And so as the crowd formed a sort of half moon around these men that were doing the
Wait, I missed it. What were they doing?
constructing were moving so seamlessly, like all of them had built this structure dozens of times before, and it was just muscle memory. And
That's cool, Johnny. What? That's
so
crazy.
by about 3 a.m., this structure was built, and they placed this large basket next to the structure. And then these men packed up their tools and the remaining pieces of lumber, and they turned around and they went right back inside the doors into the building and were gone. At this point, the crowd had become quite sizable outside of this building, and they were growing kind of restless because they knew now that this structure was built that the next time those doors open, the show is really going to start. This spectacle they are all there for, it's about to happen. And the
Wait,
crowd
what are they
all
gonna see?
knew that this event couldn't happen if the sun was up. Because if the sun was up and the area was well lit, the press would be able to take pictures and film it. And that's not what officials wanted. They wanted this to happen in the darkness. But for whatever reason, things seemed to be getting delayed inside of this building. And so the crowd was just getting more and more restless. People are getting more and more drunk, and they're getting louder and more disruptive and boisterous. And then around 4:45 a.m., the sun had come up. And so the press was out in full force with their cameras trained at the doors of this building. And so the crowd really at this point is not actually expecting this event to take place, because at this point it just seems totally unlikely. But at 4:50 a.m., those doors swung open, and standing in the threshold was 31-year-old Eugene Weidman, who was a convicted serial killer. His arms were tied behind his back, and the collar of his white shirt had been tucked down inside because they needed his neck to be free and clear because he was about to be beheaded. So the two guards on either
Why would you watch this? Why would you watch somebody be beheaded? Yeah, right.
side of Eugene, they
Gonna
pulled him forward out towards
behead
the
him.
crowd so the executioners behind him, who were dressed all in black, could filter out and take up positions alongside the guillotine, which is that wooden structure that had been built earlier in the morning. And so
Oh,
as Eugene
gosh.
is being brought out towards
That's
the
terrible.
crowd and everything is getting set up for his execution, the crowd went wild. They were shrieking and howling and laughing and pointing and booing and just generally being completely rambunctious and totally bloodthirsty. Eugene kept his head down. He did not want to look at the crowd, and he did not want to look at the guillotine. And so eventually the two guards turned him and walked him directly towards the base of the guillotine, at which point the executioners that had taken up their positions around this device, they grabbed him and slid him forward so he was on his stomach on top of this wooden platform, the guillotine, and they slid him forward until his head poked through this opening at the very far end, at which point his neck was positioned right under this huge blade that was dangling right above him, and his head was positioned over a metal bucket on the ground, which he would be looking directly at. At this point, the crowd was at a fever pitch, and one of the executioners pulled a lever. The blade came soaring down, and it removed his head. His head fell into the bin, and the executioners pushed his torso into the basket that had been placed out there earlier.
What the
and then
heck?
the executioners and the prison guards, they gathered up Eugene's body parts and went right back inside of the building, which was a prison. At this point, the crowd was cheering and going wild, and they ran up and began dabbing their scarves and their handkerchiefs in Eugene's blood, which was on the ground, as a sort of souvenir from having been at this
What the
execution.
heck?
And of course, because the sun had been out for this entire spectacle, all of this had been captured on film. And so later that day, and for the next couple of days, the headlines all over France were about this bloodthirsty crowd that was cheering as this man was beheaded, and it just overall made France look really, really bad. And so French leaders decided that from that point forward, they could no longer do any more public executions. So the guillotine would continue to get used for decades beyond this point, but it was all behind closed doors. Also,
good. Like, why would you do that?
Beheaded by a guillotine, your head, after it's been separated from your body, stays conscious for about 10 to 12 seconds, so they say. And apparently there's been lots of cases where the executioner, after the condemned has had their head removed, will yell the name of the person who has just had their head removed, and that person's head will look over at the person calling to them and will blink or try to mouth words for several seconds before the lack of oxygen kills the brain and then the head is no longer conscious.
Oh my God.
Here are some of the more notable pictures that were used in the media from Eugene
Barack,
Wagner's
hello, how are
execution.
you? What the heck? I don't know if I
In the early 1900s, Eben Byers was a man who other people envied. He was born into a very wealthy family in New York City. He attended Yale University in Connecticut, which is a very prestigious Ivy League university, and he was devilishly handsome. After his college graduation, he didn't need a job because his family was so rich, and so instead he focused his time on a passion of his, which was golfing. And in time, he became this world-class golfer, going so...
What? Johnny, thank you so much for becoming a member. Thank you, thank you. We're awesome. Thank you, thank you. Let me know if you guys want to see anything.
far as
Thank
to
you
win
again.
the 1906 U.S. Amateur Tournament, which is the biggest amateur golf tournament in
I don't know why this is so late, but thank you again.
the world, that most of the winners go on to become professional golfers. And so Eben most likely would have followed that path and become a pro golfer had his father not just handed over the very successful metalworking business that he started that made his family wealthy in the first place. And so Eben stopped his golf career and became the chairman of this incredibly successful company. And so overnight, he basically went from being just rich to being uber rich, making more money than he could possibly spend. But Eben did attempt to spend his money. He pretty much immediately began buying up luxury
Nathan, hello, how are you?
properties all over the country. He bought horse racing stables in the United Kingdom and in America, and he bought an entire luxury box at Forbes Field, which is where the Pittsburgh Pirates professional baseball team used to play. And so in addition to owning all these incredible things,
Already? Should I already? Well, Halloween stuff. I'll be streaming on Twitch tomorrow, well, later today, really, but I DJ dance music. Oh, really? That's cool, Johnny. I'm gonna try to catch it. It's already late, though. It's 10. You mean, wait, tomorrow as in the 13th? Oh, Friday the 13th. Oh, I see. That's cool. What time are we gonna do it? I'm good, just having dinner. Nice, Nathan. We're eating.
Eben also, through his role as chairman of this company,
Hopefully this isn't like gory or anything.
began connecting with and befriending very powerful and influential people like the founders and executives at the Coca-Cola Company. And so all in all, Eben's life was really going quite well until 1927. That year, Eben was 47 years old, and he took some time off from gallivanting around the world and rubbing shoulders with famous people to go catch a football game at his alma mater at Yale University. So he hops on a train, he rides to Connecticut, he watches this game, and then afterwards he gets back on the train to head back to Pittsburgh. And this is a very long ride. It's over 12 hours long. And so Eben
That's okay, not me.
naturally bought a first-class ticket, and so he was inside of a train car that had bunk beds for passengers to sleep on during the ride. And so Eben climbed into a top bunk and he fell asleep. A few hours later, after the train is well on its way to Pittsburgh, Eben, in his sleep, manages to roll to the side of the bed and actually falls out of his bed onto the ground. He lands hard on his left side, it wakes him up, and as he stands up, he thinks he's okay, but then he feels this shooting pain in his left arm. So he's moving his arm around, he's not really sure what's wrong with it, but he's hoping it's just some bruising, and so he decides to get back into his bunk and just go back to sleep. And so he manages to fall asleep despite the pain, and then when they roll into the station in Pittsburgh several hours later, he wakes up and right away he feels that pain in his left arm. And so after getting off the train and going back to his house and dropping off his luggage, he went right to his physical therapist's office to ask him if there was anything he could do to help with the pain in his arm. And so the physical therapist examines Eben's shoulder and determines that, there's no structural damage to his arm, but obviously Eben is in pain. And so he says, look, there's a new product that came online that's quite expensive, but since you're a man of means, maybe it's something you want to consider. It's called Radithor, and it's supposed to dull aches and pains, and it's supposed to give you this huge boost of energy. And so, maybe you want to try that. And so Eben was really excited at the notion of taking this new
Karina
he said, yeah, let's do it. And so his physical therapist...
That sounds good though, Nathan. Carne asada. Daniel, hello.
Therapist wrote him a prescription for Radithor. Eben took the prescription and he went to the drugstore. He picked up a half-ounce bottle of this liquid. He went back to his house and, as prescribed, he drank a very small spoonful of this liquid. And right away, he felt this surge of energy. The pain in his arm started to fade. All the things this health tonic claimed to be able to do, it was doing. And so over the next couple of days, Eben very diligently every day took the prescribed amount, a very small spoonful of this Radithor, and every day he felt better and better and better. Not just the pain in his arm, but overall, he felt happier, he felt fitter, he felt alive. And he was attributing all those feelings to this miracle tonic. And so he began taking more and more of this tonic, well beyond what was prescribed, to the point where he was drinking 3 full bottles of Radithor every single day. And so for years he did this. And it was all going great until his jaw fell off. Literally, in 1931, one day, his lower jaw just separated from his skull and went slack. And so the reason this happened was because Radithor was actually just radioactive water. In the early 1900s, the
That's great.
radioactive element...
How did he last that long? That's okay, Nathan.
Radium was believed to have highly curative properties with no side effects. And so naturally, at the time, dozens of health products were created with radium being their main ingredient.
Oh my
And Radithor was one of those products. It was literally just water and
Oh, it says. What the heck?
radium. And so after consuming over 1,400 bottles of Radithor over a 3-year period, Eben's body was finally just starting to disintegrate from the inside out. After he had his jaw surgically removed, along with large portions of his upper jaw, the rest of his body also just began to crumble. And so by the end of 1931, when his story was making headlines all around the world about the dangers of Radithor and really more specifically the dangers of radium, Eben had become completely bedridden and his skull was now beginning to disintegrate. There were holes forming all over his skull that were exposing portions of his brain. And so by 1932, Eben was dead. Eben was buried in Pittsburgh, and he was buried inside of a lead-lined coffin that was designed to absorb any of the radiation emitting from his bones. And then 30 years after he was buried, so in 1965, scientists actually exhumed his skeleton to see if it was still emitting radiation. And they determined it was still emitting the same levels of radiation as when he died. And they actually would ultimately figure out that radium, this radioactive element, has a half-life of 1,600 years. So what that means is Eben's body will remain highly radioactive for centuries. Here is a picture of Eben with his jaw surgically removed.
Oh God,
it was taken shortly before he passed away. Debate about what exactly happened in this story that I'm about to share with you. And so for transparency, in this video, I am going to rely on the narrative that was presented in court by the defendant. And so with that in mind, here we go. On the afternoon of December 3rd, 2012, a freelance photographer working for the New York Post newspaper named Umar Abbasi was walking down the stairs of the 49th Street subway station
Right? I should have skipped it. Sorry.
in New York City. This very busy station is located only a few blocks away from the very famous Times Square. And so after Umar made his way down to this underground subway station, he walked over to one of the big automated kiosks that looks like an ATM, and he purchased a subway ticket. And then with his ticket, he walked over to the turnstiles, he slid his ticket through the slot, pushed past the turnstiles, and was now standing out on the actual train platform. And from where Umar was standing, this platform basically was like a huge sidewalk that stretched all the way to his right a couple hundred feet and all the way to his left a couple hundred feet. And in front of this platform were the actual tracks down below, because the train, when it came out of the tunnel, it would actually come right up alongside this platform with almost no clearance between the platform and the train. As such, the leading edge of the platform, basically the lip of the train platform that's closest to the train tracks, has this big yellow line painted all across it to keep commuters from standing too close to the edge, because if the train came through, they could actually get hit by the train. And so as Umar is standing on this platform and he's looking left and right, it's totally crowded with people, and they're all kind of tucked back against the wall away from this yellow line. And so Umar decides he's going to turn right and wait at the right end of the platform, just because he saw down at the far end there appeared to be a gap in people, and he figured he could stand right there. And so Umar begins navigating past all of these people on the right side of the platform, and for the most part, everyone he is passing either has their head buried in their phone, or they're listening to music, or both. Because the thing about riding trains, especially trains in busy cities, is none of the commuters want to talk to anybody else. They want to be completely left alone. And so as Umar is walking, everyone was basically doing that. But at some point, he did pass two people that were engaged in a pretty heated conversation. Umar had no idea what they were arguing about, or if they were even arguing at all. He didn't know who these people were, but he took mental note of the fact that two men were kind of bickering with each other. And so he walked past them, didn't give it much of a second thought, and he arrived at a gap in the gaggle of people waiting for the train. And there he just stood well back of the yellow line, where he pulled out his camera and began clicking through the images he had taken earlier in the day at an earlier photo shoot. And so as he's clicking through these pictures, he starts to notice that those
Nitin, hello, how are you?
two men who had been bickering before are now straight up yelling at each other. They're
I know, it's terrible.
screaming obscenities at each other. It's not clear who's fighting about what or who was the aggressor, but it's very obvious that at this point they're fighting. And so Umar looked away from his camera and looked left down the platform towards these two guys. And so these two guys are about 100 to 125 feet away from him, and all the people that were standing in the vicinity of these two men are beginning to migrate away from them. They just don't want anything to do with them, because the thing about being in subways, especially in cities like New York, is there's lots of people that go down into these train stations that are inebriated or mentally unstable, and so very strange and bad behavior is just kind of a normal thing, and people tend to just kind of ignore it. And so that's what's happening. People are kind of walking away from these two fighting men, doing their best to pretend it's not happening. And so Umar spent a couple more seconds staring down the platform at these two men, but eventually just shrugged and thought, you know what, whatever problems they have, they're not mine. And so Umar went back to his camera and continued to click through his pictures, when all of a sudden he hears a scream coming from the left side of the platform. But it was not a scream that sounded like it came from either of these two men. And so Umar looked up from his camera and looked left down the platform, and now he just sees chaos. It's people running away from these two men. People are running to get away from whatever is happening around them. And so Umar's thinking these men must have come to blows, and they're now fighting actively, physically with each other. But when finally the crowd kind of cleared for a second, he saw a woman pointing down at the train tracks right in front of where those two men had been standing. And so Umar looks at the woman and he follows her finger down onto the tracks, and he sees there is now a man, one of the two men who had been fighting, laying face down on the train tracks. And then, to Umar's horror, he looks up down the tunnel where the train would come out of, and he sees the headlights of the train. It is now coming into the station. And so Umar starts running down the platform to try to get to this man to pull him out of the tracks. And as he's running, he pulls out his camera and he turns the flash on and he holds the shutter down and he aims it at the train conductor to hope the flashing of his camera will alert the train conductor to put on the emergency brake and stop the train before he hits this guy down on the tracks. And so as Umar is running, trying to signal this train conductor, the man down on the tracks tries to stand up, and Umar sees he's really struggling to stand, and when he finally gets up, he turns and he grabs the edge of the platform and he tries to pull himself up and out of the tracks, but he doesn't have the strength or the coordination, and as Umar is getting closer and closer, but he's still too far away to help, he sees that this guy down on the tracks is not going to be able to get out of there before the train hits him. And so Umar finally comes to a stop and he watches as this man down on the tracks,
Oh my god.
lets go of the lip of this platform and just turns and faces the train like he knows what's about to happen. And then seconds later, the train, although it did try to stop, impacted this man and killed him instantly. The man's name was Kaisa Khan and he was 58 years old. When the police finally showed up, they arrested the other man who Han had been fighting with. He was a 30-year-old named Naeem Davis, and Davis would actually tell police that he had been fighting with Han and he had pushed him onto the tracks, but it was in self-defense. However, that self-defense story didn't stop him from being charged with murder. While Davis sat in jail waiting for his trial, the media and the public at large had already come to the conclusion that Davis was guilty. And this was due in large part to a particular picture. As Umar was running down the platform, holding up his camera, holding the flash down, trying to flag the train conductor to get him to stop, Umar was also taking dozens and dozens of pictures. And those pictures were of Han right before he was struck by the train. And so after Umar ultimately discovered he had taken these pictures, he gave them to his employer, the New York Post newspaper, and the day after the incident, they ran on the front page a picture of Han right before he's about to be killed with the headline, "Doomed." And so once the public saw this picture, nobody could believe that Davis was anything other than a cold-blooded killer for pushing this poor innocent man onto the tracks. But as it would turn out, nearly 5 years later, when Davis did finally get his trial, he was acquitted of all charges because it turned out Han was very drunk and had picked a fight with Davis, and Davis was filmed on more than one occasion on the platform trying to get Han to leave him alone. And so finally, after Han began making death threats and then grabbed Davis's shoulder, Davis turned around and pushed him, and Han, being drunk, stumbled and fell backwards onto the tracks and then was ultimately killed. Here is the infamous photo of Han on the cover of the New York Post newspaper. So that's going to do it, guys. If you found the secret in today's episode, let us know in the comments section what it is and where you found it, so give us the timestamp.
He should have pushed him like to the side, not to the train track. Ay. Yeah. I don't know, maybe he didn't think that he pushed him hard enough. Jesus. I know. That is funny. Yeah, I guess so, Johnny. That's crazy though. Let me know if you guys wanna watch something.
Where is it? I clearly...
Let's watch like a paranormal one. Too many terrible stuff.
Today's theme is very simple, scary stories. But before I get into today's
Scary
stories,
stories.
if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story format, then you've come to the right channel because that's all we
Paranormal's
do.
better,
We upload
yeah.
3, 4, even 5 times every week. So if that's of interest to you, please
Those stories are depressing.
eat all of the like button's Oreos except for one and put it back in the pantry, and then also crumple all of their potato chips.
Wait. Did we watch this one? I think we did. I remember the Oreo part. Oh, okay, Johnny. I shall see it. I'll do it as
Also,
a
please
video
subscribe
then.
to our channel and turn on all notifications so
Hold
you
on.
don't miss down on the vertical section of
Oh, yeah, we saw this one. It's the one's about the spiders. Maybe this one?
Today, I'm going to share 3 stories that scared me. But before we get into those stories, if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story
Schmo mode,
format,
hello, how are
you've come to
you?
the right channel because that's all we do, and we upload
Have you seen Astartes? No, I've never heard of that.
3 or 4 times every week. So if that's of interest to you,
What is it?
please kidnap the like button, tie them up, and then forcibly brush their teeth and then make them drink orange juice afterwards. Also, please subscribe to our channel
How'd
and
you
turn
do
on
that?
all notifications so you don't miss any of our weekly uploads. All right, let's get into today's stories.
That's good, Schmo mode. Happy you're doing good.
In 2010, Kayla was a senior at the University of California, Santa Barbara, a big party school. And one Friday evening, Kayla and her friends were at a big party, and Kayla was having a great time, but she was starting to feel really tired. And so she asked her friends if maybe they wanted to leave early, but none of them did. And so Kayla left on her own. Luckily, her house was just down the road, and so she was at her front door in a matter of minutes. That night, her 2 roommates, who were also college seniors, had decided to stay in and just have a nice night with a couple of friends having some wine. And so when Kayla walked inside, she happened to turn to the right, and she looked on the closest wall where there was a sofa, and she saw there was a guy laying there with a blanket up to his chin, and his eyes were wide open. She didn't recognize him, but he was staring at her, and she figured, oh, he must be a friend of her roommates. But as she walked across the room, she kind of glanced back at him, and he had pulled the covers down slightly, and he had lifted his head up, and he was staring at her kind of menacingly. And so Kayla got a really bad vibe from this guy and just kind of hustled into her room, shut the door behind her, and locked it, something she never did. And a few minutes later, she was in her bed and she was passed out. A couple of hours later, she woke up to what sounded like tapping on wood. And so she sat up in her bed and she's kind of looking around. She had a couple drinks the night before and she's half asleep, so she's a bit disoriented. But finally, when she gets her bearings,
Yeah, it sounds interesting. Maybe I can do a video.
she realizes this tapping sound is the sound of someone drumming their fingers on the outside of her door. And so she's looking at her door, wondering who would be doing that. And then all of a sudden, the drumming stops, and it's replaced by the sound of this person scratching on the outside of the door. And so
What in
now
the
Kayla's
name?
thinking, okay, is this guy who was out on that couch, is he playing a joke on me? And so she's sitting there wondering if she should just go over there and open the door and tell him to stop. But before she gets out of her bed, the scratching gets louder and louder and louder until it's so loud that it's kind of menacing. And so Kayla decides she's not going to go out there. And so instead, she pulls out her phone and she texts her roommate and says, hey, can you please come out in the living room and take care of your friend who's harassing me? But she doesn't get a response from that roommate, and the scratching is just still loud as ever. And so she texts her other roommate the same message, come out and take care of your buddy here. But again, she doesn't get a response. And now the scratching on the door has stopped, and it's been replaced by jiggling of her doorknob. And so now Kayla is just mad because this is obviously a prank and it's a dumb prank. And so she yells out, hey, stop! But it doesn't do anything. And so now Kayla's like, okay, I gotta call my roommates, wake them up, they'll come out and they'll handle it. And so she calls one of her roommates, and they do pick up this time. And Kayla angrily tells them, hey, come out into the living room and tell your friend to knock it off. He's totally harassing me. And her roommate was confused. She's trying to make sense of what Kayla's saying, and she says, Kayla, what are you talking about? What friend are you talking about? And Kayla says, the guy sleeping on the couch, the guy in our living room sleeping on the couch. And her roommate said, Kayla, we didn't have anybody over last night. Is somebody out there? You need to call the police. Kayla's adrenaline surged, and she very calmly told her roommate, lock your door immediately. And right then she noticed the jiggling of her doorknob and the scratching, and it all stopped. And Kayla's wondering, where did this guy go? And then after a couple of seconds, she heard extremely loud banging coming from across the house where her two roommates shared a room. And it was the sound of this guy trying to smash down their door. And so Kayla's screaming, her roommates are screaming. Kayla manages to dial up 911, and before long there are sirens outside, and Kayla hears the sound of this guy run across the house, and she hears the sliding door open and shut. The police come inside, they search the property, and there's no sign of this guy, and so Kayla and the roommates come outside.
Wait, how did it not, how did they not see him on the couch? Or was he some weird ghost? I had a cat that I named Scratch. Neighbors had brought it to my door and asked if I wanted a kitty. I said no till I saw the fur ball. The first thing he did was scratch me right on the face. Oh no. That's terrible. It's nice of you to keep him though. Codfish. Alrighty. We'll do a codfish. Why is his name Codfish, by the way?
They talk to the police, and the police bring them over to their side door, and they show them on the outside there was all sorts of scratch marks all over the doorknob and right around the latch. And they said it looks like he was able to jimmy his way into your house through this door. And so then they asked the girls to give their statement about what happened, and they started with Kayla. They went over to her bedroom door so she could demonstrate what happened, and that's when they noticed there were all these scratch marks and gouge marks all over the outside of her bedroom door, and all over the doorknob, and all over the latch. And on the ground was a pair of scissors and a knife. And the police told Kayla that it looks like he used those scissors and that knife to open up the side door, and he was trying to use those tools again to open up her door, but for whatever reason, he just couldn't do it. They told Kayla that most likely when she went in the front door, she caught this guy off guard. Maybe he was trying to rob the place, maybe he had just broken in, but either way, Kayla got in and ruined his plans. And so he leapt onto that sofa, the one against that inner wall, to kind of tuck himself away in hopes that maybe Kayla wouldn't look over and see him.
What?
And they told her that most likely when she made eye contact with him, she became a witness and therefore a target of opportunity. And had she not locked her door, who knows what would have happened.
Weren't her roommates there? I don't get it. That's crazy.
In
Teddy,
2004,
hello.
16-year-old Misty Tasker was a typical...
If that ever happens to me, I'd slowly walk up to the door while the dude's doing his thing, quickly open and drag him in, and just go to town. That'd be a good idea, but he had a knife, and she, I don't think she had anything.
American teenager living in Live Oak, Florida, which is a small rural town right in the middle of the state. One Saturday evening in January, she and her mother attended a church service. Afterwards, they hopped in her mother's truck, and they got on the country...
Alrighty, Teddy, I'll do that one first, actually, since you asked for it first. Or do you want me to do a video? Let me know.
Highway and began making their way home. Their house was just 20 minutes down this highway. It was a straight shot, and this highway was pretty desolate. There were no street lights. It was actually a dirt road despite being a highway, and it was just thick forest on both sides of the road the entire way. There were no buildings or houses between the church and their neighborhood. Misty's mother was already a very anxious driver who would keep both hands on the wheel. She would sit up and kind of hunch over the wheel and keep her eyes intently focused on the road, but at night her driving anxiety would shoot through the roof because she had really bad eyesight. And so she would go to great lengths to not drive at night to avoid that high level of anxiety. But the church service they had just come from
A video? Okay.
had run a little bit long, and so now Misty's mother is driving with the sun starting to set, and she's going as fast as she can to try to get home before it gets too dark. And so as they're bombing down this road at about 55 miles an hour, despite it being about a 40-mile-per-hour zone, Misty, who's in the passenger seat, just happens to look over at her mother for no particular reason. And as she's looking at her, she notices out her mother's window, it looks like there's a little girl sitting on the side of the road. What's a child doing out here in the middle of nowhere? She says to her mom, I think I just saw a little girl. And Misty's mother, who's high up on the wheel, she did not hear Misty the first time. She's just focused on driving and trying to get home. And so
And
Misty says
Pranav,
again, I
I
think I
will.
just saw a little girl. We need to go back. I don't know what she's doing, but I feel like we need to go back and make sure she's okay. And so Misty's mom looks over at her and she's not prepared to turn the car around. That means staying out later, and it means she's gonna be driving in even darker conditions. And so she's like, did you really see someone? Because we gotta get home. And Misty's like, Mom, I'm pretty sure I saw a little girl. We have to go back. And so finally, Misty's mother, she's very annoyed, but she stops the car, she does a 3-point turn, and she begins driving back up the road where they came from towards this girl. Now, they had only made it about a half mile from where Misty believed she had seen this girl. And so pretty quickly, they slowed down because Misty said, I think she's in this area, and they both began scanning the right side of the road because that's where she's gonna be now that they've turned around. Now, it was starting to get very dark outside, but there was enough light and they had headlights. They were pretty confident they'd be able to spot this girl. And so as they're slow rolling down the road, they both see this girl a little ways up on the right-hand side. Her back was to the road. She had her knees tucked up to her chest and she was rocking back and forth. Misty's mother made a comment that it was a little bit surprising that this girl was out here. I mean, there's really nothing around here. There's no houses, there's no buildings, there's no trails to be walking in this forest on either side. It was just kind of thick forest. And so she just thought it was very strange that this girl would even be out here, especially because there's not any traffic on this road. And so Misty's mother began slowly rolling up to her, and she told her daughter that instead of just stopping right away, let's just drive past her and get a look at her, and then we'll turn around and see if she needs any help. And so as they got right up next to her, they realized she was not a little girl. She was a young teenager, but she was not a young child. And as they drove right past her, they would expect her to turn around and acknowledge the car creeping up on her, considering there's no other traffic in the area and you're just some person sitting on the side of the road. You should definitely turn around and see what's behind you. But the girl did not acknowledge them. She just continued to have her knees up to her chest and rocked back and forth. And so Misty and her mother are a little bit freaked out by this, but they drive past her about 50 meters. Misty's mother does a 3-point turn, and when they're looking back down the road where the girl should now be on their left-hand side, they're oriented back towards their house now, she wasn't there anymore. But there were no street lights. It was now almost completely pitch dark outside, and so all they had was the headlights. And so Misty told her mom, drive up a little ways. Maybe the girl stood up and moved and we just can't see her because she's not in the headlights. And so Misty's mom began driving down the road and kind of turning slightly towards the left to shine the light more to the left, but there was no sign of this girl. For good measure, they turned right slightly to shine the lights more to the right-hand side of the road, but there was no sign of this girl. And so Misty and her mother just slow rolled back down the road, kind of keeping their eye out on both sides. But after traveling for several minutes, going about 5-10 miles an hour and seeing no sign of this girl, they decided that, well, she must have just gone back into the woods and gone back to wherever it was she came from. And so Misty's mom began picking up speed, and before long they had gone maybe 2 or 3 miles away from where they'd seen this girl, and they were coming up to this 4-way intersection with stop signs all around. And as they were getting close, Misty's mother gasped because on the other side of the intersection, on the right-hand side, was this girl sitting on the side of the road. She's got her back to the road, her knees are up, and she's rocking back and forth. And so Misty's mother pulls up the stop sign and then just sits there. And both women are just stunned at what they're looking at. They had just seen her 2-3 miles back down the road. It wasn't possible for her to get all the way up here. And so Misty's mother looks at her daughter and says, do you think it's a different girl? And Misty's like, no, that's the same girl. And so they just sat there for a minute until Misty started to panic.
Alrighty,
She said to her mom, don't stop.
Vexen, hello, how are you?
I got a bad feeling about this.
What time is it for you?
Girl, I don't know what's going on, but you can't stop next to this girl. But Misty's mom, she was definitely weirded out by this situation, no doubt. But she didn't feel good about abandoning this girl in the middle of the night on the side of the highway. And so even though she felt a little bit hesitant herself, she told Misty, we have to at least drive past her and ask if she's okay. That's the least we can do. And Misty was not having it. She said, Mom, do not stop. I got a bad feeling about this. Don't stop near this girl. But Misty's mom let up off the brake.
You have to listen to your intuition.
And began slow rolling past this intersection. And now at this point, Misty is just absolutely terrified. And so she takes her seatbelt off and she goes down into the footwell right in front of her seat. And she closes her eyes and covers her ears, and she just continues to beg her mother to just please keep going, don't stop. But her mother just continues on until she stops right next to this girl who's still just sitting on the side of the road with her back to the road. She's got her knees up, she's rocking back and forth. She's not acknowledging Misty or her mother. And so Misty's mother turns to her daughter and says, please roll down
Right, Teddy? That would be a good idea.
on your window. And Misty refuses. She's still down in the
Why would
footwell,
you
still
roll
in the fetal
down your
position. She's
window?
crying and she's still begging her mother to please just go home. And so Misty's mother, frustrated, reaches across the passenger seat and grabs the knob to roll down the window manually. So she rolls the window down, and Misty, who's down in the footwell, all she remembers is sitting there covering up her ears, and she's crying, and she opens her eyes and she's looking up towards her mom, who's reaching over the seat, and her mom yells out to this girl. And Misty remembers looking at her mom, who suddenly recoils in horror and screams, and then they take off like crazy, flying down the road. Misty jumps out of the footwell, and she's looking at her mom, and she's like, what's happening? What just happened? What did you see? And her mom's got her hand over her mouth, and she's speeding down the road, and she's crying now, and she's looking at Misty, and she just doesn't have the words to describe what she just saw. And so Misty's asking her mom, what did you see? What happened? And finally, her mother just said, she didn't have a face. She didn't have a face. It was hollow. There was nothing on her face when she looked at me. And so Misty screams and she's crying and her mom is crying and they speed home. They're home just a couple of minutes later and they run inside, practically falling over each other to get in the house. And as soon as they get inside, Misty's mom calls 911 and she didn't even know how to describe what she just saw. But she knew it was too embarrassing to try to describe it as some girl without a face sitting by the highway. And so she just told the police that they had seen a girl they think needs help. And so the police, they went out and they searched that entire stretch of highway. They looked for any sign of anybody out there, but there wasn't. There was never any trace of that girl.
The heck? I would die. Misty's mom has got it going on. That song. It's 12:35 a.m. but my sleep schedule is so messed up. Oh no, Vexen. Ours is pretty bad too, but not that bad. Like, Mom, why are you trying to die tonight, right? That's terrible. I don't know if she meant like there was just no face or like that horrible picture that he put. Before this story starts, can you do one video really quick or should we finish this? I don't know. Why? What did you want something? I woke up at 3 this afternoon, but I didn't go to bed till like 5 a.m. Really? Us too. We woke up like at 2. Went to sleep like at 5 also. Right? Not me. Daniel, hello, how are you? It's up to you. Okay, I guess we'll just finish this one.
2016, a 25-year-old Wall Street banker named Matt was camping near Mount Rainier in Washington state. His job was so hectic that in the rare times he got a chance to, he would disappear into the wilderness for a few days to clear his head. Despite living in one of the biggest cities in the world, Matt was actually a very competent outdoorsman. And so for this trip, he decided he would stay way off any trail, deep in the backcountry in random locations. On the first night, he found a nice clearing in the trees, and so he set up his campsite there. He ate some food over his fire, he pitched his tent, climbed...
Oh, I see, Vexen. How long did you sleep? It was just like a nap, or you took like a whole sleep?
inside, and within a few minutes, he was fast asleep. Several hours later, Matt woke up to some strange sounds coming from outside of his tent. It sounded like a couple of animals, or maybe one animal, moving around right outside. And so after a while of just hearing this constant sound, he rolled over and he barely unzipped his tent flap just to look out and see if he could see whatever animal it was. And what he saw shocked him. There was a man sitting in front of his fire pit. There was no fire in his fire pit. And the guy was just sitting there with his hands on his knees, looking straight down. And periodically, he would just kick his feet in the ashes of the fire pit. And Matt didn't even know what to do, so he's just looking at him through this little tiny gap in his tent.
What the name?
And this man, all of a sudden, looks up directly at Matt and makes eye contact with him. And the guy's eyes go wide, and he stands up, turns around, and runs away from Matt's campsite. Matt has no idea how to react to this, and so he just quickly unzips his tent, jumps outside, and shines his light into the forest, looking for this guy. He's thinking to himself, Who is this guy? I am in the middle of nowhere in the backcountry of Washington State. How long was he sitting outside there for? What does he want? And so as Matt is trying to make sense of this totally weird thing, he's thinking, okay, I'm gonna look out and I'm gonna see his flashlight somewhere, or I'm gonna see his campsite. You know, maybe he's set up nearby, and he's looking around into the total darkness. He's looking through all the trees. Any light source anywhere out there he would see. And there's not one. There's no fire, there's no flashlight. There is nothing. And so eventually Matt goes back inside of his tent, he zips it up, and he's just left kind of dumbfounded. He can't understand how some person was just sitting outside of his tent for no apparent reason and then vanished into the forest without even turning on a flashlight. And so after a very restless night, finally the sun came up again and Matt was very relieved. He stepped outside, and after a little bit of time now from this strange incident, Matt started to tell himself that all that was is some guy happened to set up his campsite nearby. It is possible, albeit rare because we're in the backcountry, and maybe he was just intoxicated and he wandered over here, and you know, stranger things have happened, so that's probably all it was. And so Matt felt like there was nothing to worry about. He packed up his campsite.
Same, but I'm usually in a lot of pain, so sleep comes rarely. Oh, that sucks, Johnny. Unfortunately, I'm very sick. Liver failure, not from drinking, so yeah, tons of health issues. Oh no, I'm sorry. That sucks, but at least you were able to sleep pretty good. Oh, I see, Vexen. Yeah, it is really hard to get a normal schedule. It's a tweaker, probably. That's good, Johnny. I'm sorry, though. I hope you get better, because there's always a possibility of getting better. So you can do it.
And he began hiking into the forest. Matt didn't have a planned route. Instead, he had a map and a compass, and he began just kind of wandering in the forest, kind of exploring wherever he wanted to go. And over the next 2 days, he covered at least 10, maybe 15 miles in kind of random zigzag directions. He found a nice clearing, and he set up another campsite. That night, he set up a fire and he was eating some food near his fire. And then as he's sitting there, he hears rustling coming from behind him. And he's pretty sure it's an animal, so he turns around and he doesn't see anything. And he goes back to eating his food. And then a little while later, he hears some more rustling behind him. And this time, he can't really just write it off. Clearly, there is something behind him that's moving around. And so he stood up, turned around, and remained motionless and just listened, expecting to see maybe a deer come out of the woods. But instead, he hears a man's voice come out of the darkness that says,
"Do you know how to get to Bell's Canyon?"
And Matt's heart starts racing. He knows that even though he can't see him, it has to be the
He just wants directions. Maybe he's lost.
same guy he saw 2 days ago. Because they are in the middle of nowhere. He hasn't seen any other hikers or campers or anyone. And clearly this guy has the ability to sneak up on him. And so he's thinking, what does this guy want? I just spent the past 2 days hiking in random directions for 15 miles, and he must have followed me. And so Matt, not knowing what else to do, just says, I don't know where Bell's Canyon is. And then
Right, Vixen?
there's silence. And Matt, one part of him is thinking, I hope this guy does not come into the light. I hope he just goes away. The other part of him is thinking, well, you know, maybe this is a different person that is lost and they're looking for this place called Bell's Canyon and they'll come into the light. It'll be a big relief. I'll send them on their merry way and everything will be fine. But as Matt is having this wishful thinking, the voice from the shadows does not come any closer, but instead asks the same question, a bit more forcefully this time.
"Do you know how to get to Bell's Canyon?"
This time, Matt did not respond. Now he was scared. This is not some friendly hiker looking for directions. There's something wrong. And so Matt, knowing he's all alone out here, he knew he had to do something to try to take control of this situation. So he took a deep breath, he reached down and grabbed his flashlight, and in one swift motion, he lifted his light up and shined it in the direction of this guy's voice. And what he saw was this guy from 2 days ago looking out from behind a tree right in Matt's direction. He was hiding from him. And when the light hit him, the man barked at Matt to aim it away. And Matt kind of instinctively lowered his light, but now he was too scared to raise it again, and now he knows it's the same guy. This guy has been following me for 2 days. And so for several minutes, Matt just stood there absolutely terrified. And this guy, he just stayed out there. Matt didn't hear him move. It was just a complete standstill.
What the heck?
Then the silence was broken yet again by this voice, except somehow he had moved even closer to Matt. And when he came through asking the same question,
Do you know how to get to Bell's Canyon?
his voice was so close to Matt that Matt got scared and raised his light up, and the man was standing just a few feet away from him. And this time, the man's eyes got wide like they did the first time they saw Matt, and he turned around and he ran into the forest again.
What
Matt,
the
not
heck?
knowing any better, just began running after him, but he only ran for about 30 seconds before he realized the terrain out here is so rough. He's gonna fall, get hurt, he's gonna get lost, and this guy's already long gone. He somehow managed to run immediately so far away, and so Matt just goes back to his campsite, and he's thinking to himself, what do? I have no cell phone service. I'm at least 3 days away from my car,
What the
and
heck?
I'm in the middle of nowhere. No
Right, Schmo, or some kind of weapon. That's good, Johnny. I'm happy for you. I tell him the wrong route. Right. It's that way. I swear Mr. Ballen just tells the best stories on people trying to get extended car warranties. I agree. Dude just wants directions. I guess, but like, why are they following the guy? Why are they hiding? Thank you, Fakey. Thank you. How are you?
one even knows where I am because I didn't chart a course. I didn't tell anyone where I was going to be. And so Matt just grabbed his knife and stood in the middle of the campsite, and for hours and hours he just kept looking around, expecting this guy to just show up again or start speaking to him from somewhere out in the darkness. It was absolutely horrifying. Finally, by about 3 in the morning, Matt was so tired that he had to go to sleep. He hadn't heard this guy again, he didn't see him again, and he figured, I need a little bit of sleep because tomorrow he's gonna pack up his campsite and begin this epic journey back to his car. And so he climbed in his tent and he had a very restless next couple of hours. And then the sun came up, Matt jumped out of his tent, packed up his stuff, and began practically running in the direction of his car. All day as he was hiking, Matt kept looking over his shoulder, expecting to see this guy, because clearly he had followed him for multiple days, over 15 miles, and so the likelihood that he's still following him was really high. And so all day, Matt just felt like he was being watched, he was totally terrified, and then the sun started to go down, and Matt knew he would have to camp out again. And so he found a clearing in the trees, he set up his campsite, and he was so tired from running basically all day and being so mentally exhausted from this experience that he just got in his tent and fell asleep very quickly. But several hours later, he woke up to the sound of somebody walking around his tent.
Oh my
He knew
God.
it had to be this guy. He's still in the middle of nowhere. He's not even close to the parking lot yet. And so this guy is still following him. And so Matt sat up in his tent, he clutched his knife, and for hours and hours and hours, all night, this guy just walked around his campsite. And then around 4 or 5 in the morning, he scampered off. When the sun finally came up, Matt leapt out of his tent, packed up his stuff, and literally
Nothing
just
wrong with that
began
guy.
running in the direction of his car, hoping that maybe he could get there before needing to camp out one more night. And so all day as he moved, he's looking over his shoulder, knowing this guy is following him. At this point, it's not even a question. He's somewhere in the forest, but he could never see him. And unfortunately, as the sun was setting, he knew
Right, Mo. Epic journey. Mission survive, right? Give the guy your phone and tell him to use Google Maps. Right.
he was not going to be able to make it to his car. He was just too far away. And so at some point, when it got too dark to keep moving, he had to find a clearing and set up his tent again. And so once his tent was set up, he just climbed inside, grabbed his knife, and sat there, knowing this guy was somewhere out there. And so Matt climbed inside of his tent, he zipped it up behind him, he grabbed his knife, and he sat there, expecting to hear this guy come walking around. But after several hours, he didn't hear him. And Matt started to wonder, maybe this guy has left me alone, finally. Maybe he's not following me anymore. And so Matt, who was totally exhausted, laid down to go to sleep. And then, as he's laying there from somewhere out in the woods,
Do you know how to get to Bell's Canyon?
Matt immediately sat up. His heart began racing so fast that he actually was concerned he might have a heart attack. And he didn't know what to do. He didn't know what to say, so he just sat there holding his knife. And then this guy began running past his campsite, making animal sounds. And he would stop periodically and moan and grunt, and he'd pick up leaves, and then he'd run past his campsite again, over and over and over again, until the sun finally came up and this guy scampered off back into the woods. Matt didn't waste any time. He leapt out of his tent, packed his stuff up, and ran all the way back to his car. When he finally got
You were his tent. Oh, you do? You have the same knife?
inside of his car, shut the door, and locked it, he cried tears of joy. He was so
Right, Teddy? The heck? He should, like, go on a... I don't even know.
unbelievably relieved. And he peeled out of the parking lot. He got to a nearby hotel. He finally got cell phone reception, and he considered calling the police about this guy, but he thought, you know, what am I going to tell them? He didn't commit a crime. He was just terrifying. And so he decided not to call the police. He finally flew back to New York, and he just had to accept that there was some strange guy out in the wilderness of Washington State who was able to hunt him over 3 days and 30 miles in rugged terrain without the use of a flashlight, without any gear, and all he ever said to Matt was,
Do you know how to get to Bell's Canyon?
So that's going to do it, guys. If you found the secret in today's episode, let us know in the comments what it is and where you found it, so give us the timestamp. And if you're the first to do that, we will pin you at the top of the comment.
That was kind of funny, but weird. Okay. He asked for directions 10 times and for 3 straight days. Oh, you should have been like, I don't know. Probably, Schmo. Maybe he was just on some all kinds of drugs or something. He was waiting for the answer. I don't think they have any reception over in like the woods. At the end, I thought he was gonna say the dude was in his backseat. That would have been terrible. Take a left at the oak tree, go till you see the rock that looks like a bunny. Then follow that over the hill. Right? Thank you, not me. Ghost, hello, how are you? Pranav, I will do it right after GFam's video because he's a member and he loves Ownage pranks. It's only 5 minutes. Okay.
This girl Gabby asked me to prank her dad Joe.
Wait, we saw this one. Remember? We did. Okay, thank you, Pranav.
A retired Navy SEAL from the southern United States, who is extremely protective of his daughter. Joe's biggest fear is that Gabby will get knocked up, and he's super hostile towards any.
Oh, we saw it. I think, I don't know, we saw this one, but it's okay. I was gonna say I remember this, but it's still funny. Right, we did see this one. Do you have any other ones that you want to see? Okay.
Man that comes near his daughter. He even pays for her to take weekly kickboxing classes so that she can protect herself from men. Oh yeah, he also apparently still lives in the 1950s and thinks that interracial dating is very wrong, which is not cool. So I called him up as Tyrone, Gabby's kickboxing instructor, to tell him that I've been messing around with his daughter. I first tried to ring him multiple times, but he wouldn't answer. So I had Gabby call him from her phone with me conferenced in on the line. This gets absolutely insane.
Hello?
Hey,
Yeah.
Daddy, what's up?
Somebody's been calling me from all kinds of different numbers.
My friend was trying to call you because he has something to tell you.
Who's your friend?
Come here, Tyrone.
Hey there, sir. How you doing? This is Mr. Joe, right?
Yeah?
It's so nice to meet you, sir.
Who's Gabby? Gabby, who is that?
This is Tyrone.
Where are you at?
At the Motel 6.
The
What?
Motel
I'm her
6.
kickboxing instructor. Like we've known each other for a little while.
Gabby, what are you doing at the Motel 6?
I have something to tell you, and I'm too scared.
Oh, my God, Gabby. What are you doing now? When I get the hell home, there's going to be hell to pay.
Well, sir, like,
I'm telling you, this is my daughter, my youngest daughter, who, Jesus Christ.
hello?
His
Oh my
spirit was
God.
leaving.
Gabby,
Yes, Dad?
why are you doing this now? You're going to ruin your life.
Dad, he has something to tell you.
I don't want to hear it.
Well, sir, it's very important. Like, we have some big news. I was just trying to share it
God
with you.
damn it, I don't want to talk to you. Do you understand that? I don't want to talk to you at all.
Miss-
Not
Miss-
once in my lifetime. No, shut the hell up and put my daughter on the phone.
Give me a chance, Mr.
No.
Joe. Listen,
No.
you give me.
Hell no, no. Gabby,
Yeah?
get home now.
I'm gonna be part of the family. You're gonna be a grandpa, and I was just calling you to let
Oh,
you.
I'm telling you right. Oh, hell no, Gabby.
Well, look,
jeez.
I'm just saying, like,
Hell no. Shut up.
we were just calling you to give you the good news, sir. Like, we wasn't trying to upset you or nothing like that. Like, hello?
Oh my God, he hung up.
It's terrible.
Hey, Dad.
Are you at home?
No, not exactly.
God damn it, Gabby.
You gonna be a grandpa? I thought you'd be excited.
I'm telling you right now, you better start running if that's the case.
No, I mean, like, honestly, like it wasn't intentional. Just like mistakes happen, but
Oh, I don't want to hear it.
no,
Gabby, get on the phone.
sir, don't worry. I'm experienced. I have 4 other kids. Like, I know what I'm doing in this department. Like, I just want to
4
kind of
other
just talk,
kids.
like, get to know each other better.
Oh my God. On a completely unrelated note, one of my ex-bosses is trying to add me on Facebook. Weird. That's funny, Vexen. I don't know, maybe it's a good thing? I don't know. That was fast, right? Former Navy SEAL can't train his daughter hand to hand. That would be more effective than kickboxing, right? I don't know if he really was. I don't know if that's true or what, but I think I did that one, Ghost. Remember? Or is that a different one?
Because I feel like we ain't close yet.
The only time we're going to be talking is I'm putting your ass in a hole. Any child she has with you is not a grandchild of mine.
Would you like some references? I can give you like the numbers for my other 2 baby mamas, if that helps. But like, again, like, hello.
He was blowing up his wife's phone trying to figure out what the hell was going on. She was in on the prank, and I convinced her to hop on the call to drive her husband just a little bit crazier.
Hey,
It's terrible.
Gabby,
Yeah.
are you at the house?
I'm not. I'm with Mom right now.
Where's? Let me talk to Mom then.
All right. Hey, Joe.
What the hell is going on?
I don't know, Joe. I just got up from my nap.
From my
Who is
nap.
Tyrone?
I'm shocked you are.
I'm here too. Like, I was just talking to
God
his.
damn it, I do not want to. Shut up.
Sir, you really hurt my
I got
feelings.
a shovel, and I've got a gun,
Who is Tyrone?
and I'm going to be using both when I get back to town.
Sir, why you gotta?
And I don't give a damn.
We just wanted to bring you in on the decision-making process. Like, I just wanted to settle on a name for the baby, and like we settled on Lil Jabari, and I wanted to just run it by you.
Little
Like, I'm
Jabari.
so angry. I don't know if now's a good time to talk about it.
Dad, I have to come clean.
Just quit calling me. I don't want to hear. I'm done. I'm not even coming home now.
Sir,
This is just a prank, and I wanted to call you back and let you know it's just a joke. Your daughter's not actually pregnant. I'm not actually with your daughter and right now. There is.
This is like a radio damn prank.
Yes, your daughter is a fan of
Radio.
my prank calls, and I post a bunch of different content online. I'm a voice actor, so I called you just now as Tyrone.
I was ready to come home and do some ill will. I know
my
that.
God. Sir, I completely understand. There were so many times during that call where I was about to lose it and start laughing so hard, but thankfully, I didn't break character. This was definitely my favorite animation yet, and I hope you guys liked it too. If you did, do me a solid and drop a big like on this down below, and most importantly,
That was funny. Alrighty. We're gonna do what's it? Pranav with Codfish. Which one you wanna see? Where'd he go? Alrighty, Johnny, let me know. One. Oh, it's Green Day, but we can't watch that one because be like copyrighted. Trump speed dating. No, why, Pranav? Why? Teddy's is next then. He asked. Oh, I thought you wanted it to be a video, Teddy. Well, we'll just do it now, I guess. Righty. What is it? This one? Oh, yeah, I think it's a... Wait, this isn't the original? Wait, what? I'm so confused. Thank you, Sam. Thank you. That's okay, Teddy. Which one is it? This one? Oh, third one? 40. It's PlayStation, not that one. Oh, this one was the right one? That's okay. Okay. Oops. I just skipped the whole thing. Okay. I'm so hypnotized. Like somebody did this? Crazy. It's fan made? That's crazy. Alrighty, Vexen, let me know what it is. No, he crashed. Wow, that's crazy. I guess so, Johnny. Like an animation. Are these like people versus robots? I know, right? Oh no. Ah, that's terrible. Jesus. It does look cool. That's crazy, like one person did this. Along, hello, how are you? I haven't seen that Vixen. Not in the name. They have shields. Wait, is that a person or a robot? Oh, the... Who are the good guys? Who are the bad guys? What? Really? Is this from like a game or something? Oh, I see, Teddy. Oh, I see. Alright, Johnny. Shell. The giant. No name. What is going on? What, Teddy? Thank you so much for the $10. Thank you. So cute. Thank you. Oh, okay, Vexen. I think I could do that one here. Alright, Johnny's and Vexen. Oh, it's Rap God. I see. Teddy, what? Thank you. You are too kind. Thank you so much. This is really cool though. It's crazy that one person did this. Thank you so much. Thank you. You are awesome. Triz, thank you so much. I don't know if Eminem will let that pass copyright because of music. Yeah, probably not. So I'll do that one video. It just looks so cool. It does. Oh my god. Those robots do not care. I know, I wonder how long it took. Oh, he got hired somewhere? Nukes. I could do it today. I'm watching Nukes. Got thrown in another dimension or something. Oh, they're people! I thought they were robots. Come on, the name. What? What? That's crazy. I didn't really understand what was going on, but it was crazy. It was cool. Thank you for sharing, Teddy. Thank you, thank you. All I know is all those giants are part of, or is darkness. I think they're called that. Oh, okay. The Imperium of Man by the Templin Institute made a good lore video on this. Oh, really? Let's see. It's okay, me neither. Thank you, Teddy. It was really cool. My dog reacts to himself fail. Yes, Johnny's next. Then it's who was next? I don't know. We'll just go Johnny first. Alrighty. What was it again, Johnny? It was from speed dating? Is it this? Okay.
Welcome to speed dating. Each of you is going to meet for about 3 minutes. Then you're going to hear this buzz.
Well, I'm gonna wait for GFam. Hold on. Sorry. I think he would like this. Ah, yes, Ghost. I will. All right.
Buzzer. Okay, and when that goes off, we're gonna move to the next table. Ready to find some love?
Tana,
What are you doing here?
I was asked to speak at this hotel. It turns out there's some type of pussy banquet going on.
Can you hold 1 second? Just
What?
Give me a second. Fuck you, you fucking piece of shit, ugly, fat, orange, fuck.
Social media. They had to take it away. I was too good. In fact, go ahead, put it back up. Put it back up. People say I've got bad makeup. Tana looks like someone painted her face like a clown. That's what we're gonna call her. Tana It the Clown. She looks like him. She looks like she should be in a sewer, bothering children.
You are utterly disgusting.
I'm disgusting.
Okay. Vexen, like more red, you mean, or a different color?
I saw you walk in. I said, "Who's this? Is this a pig? I didn't know they were letting pigs in."
You're a dictator.
Old sage, what a loser.
Old
What a loser
sage.
she was. Somebody needs to tell her that her pussy stinks. When you walked in, I could
What?
practically smell you. Your vagina stinks.
You
Smelled
know
up
what?
the whole room.
No one here is gonna go on a date with you.
There'll be no problem there. I'll get a date. There's gonna be so many dates. People, whoa, this guy has so many dates. You, none. I don't even need a date, but I'll get a date if I want a date. You can go on Tinder. Have you heard of this? There's Tinder. You go beep boop pop, and there's pussy.
This is pretty exciting. I've never been on a date with a white guy before.
Hit the buzzer.
I mean, I'm just wondering what it would be like with something a little smaller.
Let me stop you there, Elaine.
I don't know who sat in this chair before me, but it stinks.
I told her.
Any interest?
You're gay.
Hey, blame the dairy industry.
I would never
The
suck.
dairy.
But if I did, it'd be one of the best sucks he's ever had. A few years ago, women would have the flat butts. Not you. You've got a very nice one.
Thank you.
You know, I polled very
Thank
well
you.
with the blacks. How am I polling with you? I saw you come in. I said, that's the one. The belle of the ball. You're the prettiest one.
I'm gonna be completely honest with you here. I'm not that interested in
You're the ugliest. Do me a favor. Could you take your gigantic perfect tits and leave? I don't recall saying I would get a date here, but if I did say that, maybe I will.
Oh my God.
Hello.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Do you like my shirt? I got it dyed at the special, the tackle shop. There's a 2-for-1 at the tackle shop, the bait and tackle.
The
I'll
what?
get you one. It's 2-for-1.
Wow.
How are you, Mr. President?
Well,
I'm great, especially since you exposed all the Jews that were putting 5G in my brain that wanted the meth.
What?
how are you at oral sex?
Pretty good, to be honest. My teeth come out.
Siobhan, how would you like to go on a date with Donald Trump?
Yes, finally. Oh my God, I won. Did I win?
Did I win?
I got head.
What the heck? I don't think his Trump impersonation was as good as like other ones, but it was good. It was funny. Thank you, Jenny, for sharing. Alrighty. No, I know, Johnny. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Alrighty. I think Ghost was next. Unless Vexen has a different request, since that one's okay. So we're gonna do Ghost and then Nuke step 5. Unless somebody else has somebody else. Yeah, either a different color or if you're just getting rid of the red. I think I'm just gonna keep it red for now. I have to cut my hair, but nobody knows how to cut hair, and it's like $10,000 for a haircut. Quite sad. You guys are lucky. You don't have to pay $1 million. Alrighty, Vixen. Alrighty, Michael Jackson with the mic. I kind of feel bad though that they're doing that to him. I don't know. He's nice. Okay, that's actually Michael Jackson with a mic. Oh my god, this is like way too loud.
Bro, I'm jumping to my...
Now
harder to spot them.
Introduction.
But this is awesome. Up, down, up, down.
This place.
Alright.
All right. Up, down, up, down. Basically,
What's that noise?
this monster can hear me talk now. So, I don't know how much of that I'll be doing. Look at this. New door. That's new. Hey!
Get ready.
Are you okay?
Why is it so loud?
Can you hear? Oh my gosh, he can hear me! Get on the table. Ah! Shut up, Corey. You can't scream.
But he just saw him.
Gosh, I thought he was about to crawl under the table. Hey! Hey, monster! Can you hear me in here? Oh my gosh. I can't talk too loud.
This place gives me the creeps. Damn it. I think I need a key.
He went under the table and I didn't see him.
Just gotta be careful, guys.
It's a different one.
Hey. Yeah, so my name is Corey Kinchin. Yeah, I'm about to hit you with a whisper. Yeah, you don't even... Yeah, I'm still back here. Listen, and I still don't care.
Damn it, I think I need a key.
Dude, we solved that last time. We did that last time. I'm not even worried about that door. This is jacked up, guys. I can't give you my funny commentary.
Oh, sorry. Good job. Thank you. Alrighty, I'll be on this side. Sam, you can ask for whatever.
I don't know what that was for.
That's weird. It looks like this goes in the clock.
We got a clock in.
Why is this place so big? I'll just keep walking.
Dude, shut up talking. Alright. We got this thing here. We knew this was here last time.
I don't know the name. Yeah, as long as it's not copyrighted.
That's weird. It looks like this goes in the clock.
Yeah, Ted, you're right.
What the f? How am I supposed to know what time it is? What the f? Bro, get
He's not even under. What the heck?
Guys, don't say anything. Shut up.
How do you not see him?
30? That opened this. We did this already. I'm gonna do this again, guys. Hold up. Alright. We did this.
Jesus. My
We
God.
solved this puzzle again, guys. That was easy. 32415. I remember the last time it took me like half an hour, but... Alright. What was even happening here? They were trying to summon him?
This could be useful.
What the... What is this? What has happened here?
What the heck?
Oh my gosh. There's nowhere to hide in here.
Scary paintings. Turn off the light.
Oh my gosh. Look at this.
All right. After giving it a lot of thinking, I decided to step out of the cult. It's insane. They want to feed the entity with children's fears. And even the very children, I can't stand for this. They are everything I have. Only with them I feel as unequal. As a brother, not like in the cult where I feel used. They are just telling me promises at a cost that would mean everything to me. I'm done. I will try to record one of the sessions to expose them.
Dang. Dude, they got the nerve to have this man still walking around while I'm trying to do this? Okay. What the f? Let me
What is the lady saying?
Mr. Crow, why can't I pick that up? Why can't I pick that up?
It's sad that there's a gun you can't pick it up.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh, that scared me.
That
I
scared
thought
me.
I was good. So I literally gotta do that all over again? Man, this game's still too hard, bro.
It's weird.
Look at the game just started!
Jeez.
We gotta get a crowbar for that.
Right. Yeah, I put it lower, but yeah, it's not as low. Jeez.
Bro, I'm jumping to my death! Alright guys, well, I tried to reach out to the dead because, honestly, I ain't about to not do my commentary, alright? First half of this video was super quiet.
What the?
Get the freak back! You hear me, don't you, huh? You hear me, but you can't reach under this table. I'm Corey Kinchi, alright? If I want to talk, I'm gonna freaking talk. What you gonna do, huh? What you gonna freaking do? Matter of fact, let me turn my flashlight on too. Ooh, he ticked off about it, ain't you? Not as like as attracted to me like I'm a freaking Twinkie on a fat. All right, let's not take it there. Can you still hear me, Mr. Ayuoki? Yeah, he can still hear me, even at this level, right? No, he can't hear me now. All right, so we're gonna just talk at this level, right? Can you hear me, brother? Brother, I want to try and find the crowbar. Right, jump over here. Wait for him to come.
Oh my god, why does that have to be so loud? The footsteps he's gonna hear. Jeez. Lady has loud footsteps. Oh my god. Okay. That was odd.
So guys, I thought there would be a crowbar up here. There's no crowbar. So, where the freak is the crowbar? I'm about to just jump off. If he comes over, I'm killing myself. Yeah, I didn't want to have to jump, but I would have. I'm not getting killed by that maniac. Now this is what I call walking the plank. We need to figure out our next plan of attack, while at the same time entertaining the idea that we may have to jump should he show his face. So he's over there. Oh look. Look, he's trying to find us. You know where I'm at, you moron! Come upstairs! Yeah! Yeah, you don't know where I am! Yeah, you hear me up here? Yeah, come on. Come on. I dare you. I dare you. I double dog dare you. I triple dog dare you to hit that corner. Come on. Come on. Here's a good boy. Guys, I found a hack. He doesn't know where I am. That's what it is. Oh! Wow. Oh! Oh! You're trying to get me, huh? You're too dumb to understand. All you had to do was walk around. Yeah? Yeah, look at his little white glove. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, you know where I am. I can be as loud as I want. When will you learn that your actions have consequences, Mr. Ayuoki? If only there was a way that I could just keep him there. Because if I jump down... Hey! 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 Oh! Let's go! Hey! Oh! Let's go! Hey! Oh! Let's go! Hey! Oh! Ah! Jump off! We had to do what we. I stand by
Why
what
was
we
he
just did
making
150%. If you
him
have a problem with it,
go?
meet me in the parking lot outside. What's good? What's good with you? Bro. Boy, I just did a little shimmy. Bro, I'm starting to think if you jump on stuff, he can't find you. Hey, I'm in here. I'm a little boy, ready to be sacrificed for your little... Yeah. Yeah, mate. Yeah, come over here. Right here. Bro, he be getting confused. You see how he take a step? He be like...
A crowbar.
Oh, there it is.
I don't know what to do with this.
We just gotta open all those freaking wood planks.
Just beat it already.
It's not working.
What?
What the heck? He's right there. Raya's gonna be super loud. Already along.
Damn it. I think I need a key.
What is the crowbar for? What's the crowbar for?
Oh, there's another door. This is Jesus.
He did it. He really did it. Who would have guessed this mumbo jumbo magic tablet was real? Though it appears to be behaving, strangely. Carlin has asked that I study everything I can about this tablet and act as if nothing strange is happening here.
So, you were saying without an equal substitution, my eternal youth wouldn't be sustained.
What I'm saying is that sacrifices must be made. But it's not just a single sacrifice. It would have to be a regular event. I know you are not really taking this whole thing seriously, are you? You don't think your eternal life is worth the lives of others.
What I'm saying is I'd do whatever it takes to stay this way.
Mr.
What's the name?
Called again today. Third time, and it's even before lunch. First I humored his mad ramblings. At least the science he has behind it, anyway. Eternal youth. Not just beauty on the outside, but hot to eternal organs decaying. Even dragged a new guy into this whole thing, but even they know that type of power can't be found within the stable realms of reality. Can it?
Well, for what I've seen, our reality, and in fact all of them are shapeless. But there are forces that we don't understand, which can shape their reality at will.
I see. After all, as a man of knowledge, I prefer to stick to what I can see with my very own eyes.
Oh dear, that's the thing. What you are saying is what you shouldn't trust the most. We are here to experience exactly what's behind of what we can see
Oh,
as reality.
fly flying around.
The tablet. I think it's having more of an impact on me than anything else. I know this sounds crazy, but I feel as though it's speaking to me. Not directly, but foreign thoughts have entered my mind.
Does he have to like hear this whole thing?
Ever come up with myself and things I would never want.
Alrighty, Sam. I'll do it right after Alongs.
I think that's it, guys. Time to get the freak out of here.
Let's go! Let's go! Let's go!
Can he still come out? Wait, what?
That was new. That was a little new ending, guys.
He couldn't get out?
Slice that like button on that clutch mode. I heard him over there.
Alright, I think he goes for the request. Right, Teddy? True story. I know, right? He made it. Alright, we're gonna do along. My dog. You like love Beauty Pie, don't you?
Very important announcement. Probably the most important announcement I have ever made. Okay,
Defense
listen.
crying.
I don't know why I said ironically.
You're welcome,
this is actually
Ghost.
great.
Thank you for requesting.
G Fuel Energy tubs are now on discount. So instead of $35.99, they're now $29. 30% but it's so expensive. Check out the Glue Energy drink. How do you think I got these? I love G Fuel. This is cherry lemon slash PD. One that says actually is. Isn't that right, Edgar? It's time for you to hug how useless he actually is. Isn't that right, Edgar? It's time for you to look at other pugs so you know what a real pug, you hear me? It's supposed to be like. You watching? Here, look at some cute pugs. Look at that pug. He doesn't take attitudes. If anyone gave you attitude, you would. Literally, if we were robbed, Edgar would invite the robber in.
It's time for school. Come on. Wake up. It's time for school. Come on, man. Are you ready for school?
Edgar, you barely have any teeth. Show him. Show him. Terrible teeth. Actually, I brush them every day. They're great teeth. You thank me for your teeth. You understand? You never thank me for brushing your teeth. Every night I come to give him teeth clean, he runs away. He's pretending that he can't hear me.
Time to eat. Go tell Charlie.
Oh,
go on, go tell him.
It could be your brother, Edgar. Look.
The dog looks like an old man. Edgar is the best thing about Beauty Pie. He's old.
Can you watch? I'm trying to have a wholesome moment with you here. You're not paying attention. Here, put on the head. Stop scratching your ears. There you go. Now watch. What is this? Stop.
That's gonna be too loud for him. Look at his face.
Stop.
It's terrible.
Stop.
Diabetes.
You can't scratch because you have your headphones. Are you comfortable?
Can you scratch his ear for him?
No.
Oh my god. He needs
Oh, you're
his
crazy
ear
now?
scratched.
You were sleepy 2 seconds ago. Watch the video. You're the worst to react to. Oh, he's into it now. I can't do this. Edgar, just watch. Look at cute. You can't. You're scared of water.
Oh no.
Anytime Edgar sees some water. You like that? She's too young for you. Don't look. Anytime Edgar sees water, he's terrified. He's actually watching it. Look at him. Yeah, was that cute? Are you getting angry, Edgar? See, this is what real pug is. Cute, sweet, a little chubby. You? Nothing. Hell, see that dog actually wearing headphones? We'll watch some PewDiePie where you're in it. Compilations.
Guys, I'm Edgar. I hear you guys have a lot of problems.
It's like, who is that?
I'm here to help.
I don't like that guy. I don't like that
Their
guy.
butts. It's not poop. It's art.
Is this on my channel? Oh, which channel was this uploaded to?
Step 1. Make those eyes pop. Step 2, put the flash to the max. Step 3, you're done. Alright, since you guys keep asking,
Oh, this is
I'll
Mindset
show you
channel.
around my house. This is it. Well, I poop a lot.
Look how old you look now, Edgar. You're an old man. You got white beard. Huh? You're old
What?
uncle.
Why does he look so old?
Huh?
I've never seen a dog that looks literally.
Okay. It's okay to be old. He's not that old. I think he looks much older because he's half. It's called like silver. It's like a different. Like he's not old, but he looks. He definitely look. He definitely look old,
right
dude.
Smells delicious.
Yeah, you don't like that guy?
My roommate's husky doesn't react to other huskies but loves watching cats on YouTube. Really?
Hey.
Huskies are really smart.
You get
That's
your
cool.
food, you put it in the microwave, and then you eat it.
Oh, he's getting angry.
You sniff her butt. If she farts, that means you're in. Get an owner, make him famous, get bitches. My anaconda don't.
That shot is so good. You look so good, Edgar. He was a lot fatter back then, I think.
The videos on this channel, and to give you a little sample of all the good stuff that's about to come.
I don't really
here's me
like
playing a
pugs.
horror game.
Jesus.
That was copyright music.
Food challenge. Oh, it's so disgusting.
I think. Yeah, I don't know. GFam should be the biggest YouTuber, not me. Alrighty, guys. Have a good night. Thank you for coming by. Thank you, thank you. But this husky doesn't howl. He's pretty talkative, but he just never learned how to howl, I guess. Really? It's crazy. They don't really bark, too, huh?
I can't believe I did that for views.
Edgar, what are you doing?
I was just checking your equipment to make sure you wouldn't get hurt.
Edgar?
Come on, man. It's April Fool's, goddammit.
I'm gonna say it, Edgar.
Come on, please.
I'm gonna do it.
Please don't do it. I'll do it.
Oh, you're so cute, Edgar. I think you're cuter now. Hmm? So, Edgar, this is an important video, and I want you to watch. I want you to watch. Stop it. I want
Itch
you
his
to watch.
ear.
This is when I got you. This is 7 years
The
ago.
poor dog is
8
itchy.
years ago.
How's it going? You a girl
Look at you! Look at you! It's you! You look so different.
boy, little pug.
Who's
His
that?
name is
That's
Edgar,
you.
Edgar Allan after the poet.
Come on.
So his name is Edgar Allan Pug. Favorite hobby is because Edgar is so crazy.
Nothing's changed. Yes. Yes. Hmm? Nothing's changed. You're still crazy.
He's only
But less
7.
Crazy for sure.
He's not
And you like sleeping a lot more now, don't you?
that old.
I can't wait to meet.
Aww. Why is his tongue out so much? He never has it out. Put that thing back, alright? You're gonna get me demonetized. Didn't we do yoga together? Yeah, we did.
I want to spend time with you.
He's looking
Every
so
day you spend
intently.
with Sleepy.
Rest in peace, Slippy.
Gonna live for this shit.
Fatality.
Good thing I don't have any balls.
Bring your hand to the front.
It's true. Sorry about that, by the way. Oh. Alright, I can't make a long video on this. Edgar wants to sleep. I understand. I just wanted to reminisce and Edgar to look at some videos with me, but this has clearly been a massive failure. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye. You thought it was gay, but true relevant.
That's funny. The doggy was funny. I heard that they have like a lot of problems with their eyes though, but it seems like he's pretty healthy, so that's good. What was the next one? Oh, if people lagged in real life. Is it this one? Yeah, like they have problems breathing, they have eye problems, like they can get infected, like they're because of the way that they like their mouth, like they have like all those like folds, like supposedly you can get like infected if you don't like clean it, all kinds of stuff. So you have to have like a lot of patience, I think, to have one. Edgar goes to sleep. Floor King. No, it's not very long. We rescued him from a kill shelter. He was about 4 months, but yeah, he doesn't bark much too. Oh, that's cool, Vexen. I miss my doggies. We only have one now. She's a Bichon Frise. She's super cute. Oh, it's the first one? Okay. If I ever got a small doggo, I would get a Pomsky. Really? Those are funny. They're cute. What the heck? That would be terrible, imagine. Jesus. Who goes up the stairs like that? Oh my god. He's just getting himself all wet.
Hey Bailey, trestle.
That's terrible. I really hope that I did. I don't know how many things you had to clean up for this.
Hey Bailey, I'm gonna take off. Okay. I love you.
I'd be so mad to clean all of those things up. This guy has dedication. I would die. Jesus. How did he end up over there? Go up the stairs like 3 times. Just do it slowly. Jesus.
Dana, where'd you go?
I was about to say, how come she doesn't laugh? This is nightmare fuel, right? Imagine, that'd be terrible. Thank you for sharing, Sam. Alrighty, what was the next one? Alrighty, Teddy, thank you so much for the request, and thank you so much for the $20. You're awesome. I hope it goes back to you 10 times more. Oh, well, thank you, Teddy. Thank you for coming by again. You're awesome. I'm happy you came by. Thank you, thank you. Have a good night. Nukes, alrighty. Nuke step 5. He did a new one. I think that'll be the last one. For night. Maybe. A Nuke's top 5 of Nuke's top 5. Alright.
Top 5 ghosts caught on camera, hanging around. Japanese paranormal investigator Gachan from the YouTube channel Clip Store sets out to investigate a creepy
Hold on, I'm gonna get some water. I'm like really thirsty.
old abandoned house in Nagasaki, Japan. The house is said to be extremely haunted. Locals claim that there is a sinister curse on the property after a family mysteriously passed away inside the home under absolutely horrible circumstances almost 15 years ago. As the home is fairly small, Gachan decides to go alone and brings only his camera. Once inside, things quickly get very creepy.
カレンダー2007年4月14年前からこの状態ってことですね。まあ確かに置いてあるものが時代を感じるというか VHS だもんね。ちょっと待って足音がする。人がいる。2階に人がいる。マジか。
Where'd you go? I was gonna do your codfish.
誰かいますか？
Why are there slippers there? It was left for 15
もし
years?
ここで
What the name?
寝泊まりとかしてるんであれば返事してもらってもいいですか？すぐ出ていきます。
The paranormal investigator believes he might not be alone inside the house and heads upstairs to investigate.
"誰もいませんか?" うわ、包丁?
Okay, give me like a specific codfish video for now. I'll do it after this one. You're still here.
そうや。いや、マジで。誰かいますよね。いや、ちょっと待って。いや、本当帰るんで、ごめんなさい。
Gachan finds shattered glass and, creepiest of all, a knife. Soon after, he hears the sound of a bell coming from somewhere inside the house. He searches every room, but he finds nothing and no one to explain the creepy sound.
ちょっとね、さすがにこのままでは帰れないので、さっきね、ちょっと物音が激しかったと思われる部屋に いるんですけど、家中探してみたんですけど誰もいないんだよ。動物でもなさそうだしさ、でなんかさっき多分あれ仏壇の鐘の音だよね。ちょっと30分だけ検証して帰ろうと思います。
Eventually, the ghost hunter has had enough of the creepy, unexplained noises and decides to just go home. As he makes his way down the old, creepy stairs, he captures something absolutely horrifying.
絶対なんかさ、絶対落としたんだよ。マジで。もう嫌だ、俺。
How about I make it a video, Pranav? Since it's probably gonna be kind of long.
くそ。もうちょっとこれ以上はいられないです。帰ります。
A pair of legs can be seen dropping from the ceiling at the top of the stairs right behind the ghost hunter. Gai-chan leaves the abandoned house having no idea what he has just recorded until he reviews his footage at home. The horrifying sight of the creepy, unexplained legs shocks him and his viewers. And now, Gai-chan believes that the house is truly haunted. But either way, true or not, the footage is very disturbing. You can watch this entire investigation over on the YouTube channel, Clip Store. Like something from a nightmare. Christina, an avid watcher of the YouTube channel Paranormies, reached out to the two paranormal investigators about terrifying events she experienced while staying in room 313 at the Norwood Hotel in Winnipeg, Canada. Christina says that back in 2008, she stayed at the hotel alone for 2 nights while attending a convention. Her first night in room 313 at around 2 a.m., Christina wakes up completely paralyzed. In absolute horror, she watches as a man with a sinister grin stares at her from the darkness.
The heck? Sam, this was my last one, but I'll write that one down also for a video. No, Vexen. Members are first. It's just more fair, like.
Looking around the corner leading to the bathroom, she passes out.
Oh, for another time. Already met Sam.
And then doesn't wake up until hours later, and she says she immediately vomited. Christina calls her boyfriend, who tries to calm her down and suggests that she was probably just experiencing a terrifying incident of sleep paralysis. But the next night isn't any better. Christina has a nightmare in which she sees a man on fire floating outside her window. She wakes up to her ringing phone. It's her boyfriend, and he is in near hysterics. He says that he had a very vivid dream that a man broke into her room and did horrible things to her. Christina immediately just gets up and leaves the hotel. The next morning, she returns to the room to grab her things, and she's shocked. The window is wide open and someone has rummaged through her suitcase. She calls her boyfriend and he claims that he has no recollection of ever having called her the night before.
What?
Christina says that the experience is a complete mystery because the Norwood Hotel has no history of any reports of supernatural activity. The Paranormies team, Jordan and Johnny, head out to investigate room 313 at the Norwood Hotel to see if they can find evidence of anything paranormal. At first, the guys don't really capture much of anything, and they actually begin to wonder whether the story might have just been sleep paralysis.
Alrighty, Sam. Thank you. Have a good night. Thank you. Thank you for stopping by.
After all, but then the team's equipment
Paranormies.
begins to act very strange, especially around Jordan.
What are you thinking so far?
Thinking that it could have just been a sleep paralysis episode, you know?
It could have been wrong?
It sounded like wrong. And it won't focus on you.
Really?
Now it is.
When Johnny wonders aloud if Christina experienced sleep paralysis instead of something paranormal, the spirit box seems to answer wrong, and Johnny's camera suddenly won't focus on Jordan. When Johnny begins to use an SLS camera, he again experiences a very odd malfunction.
It won't even pick you up.
It won't pick me up?
No.
What if I like go like this?
Nope, it won't pick you up.
Really? That's weird.
It wouldn't, it's like, what the hell's going on? It wouldn't, it was blurring you out.
Is there something around me right now that's interfering with the electronics?
It won't pick Jordan up.
The SLS camera does not register Jordan at all. Even creepier, the team has brought a
It's 12:06 a.m. Nav, what about you?
motion-activated doll with them and placed it in the bathroom.
Why would you do that?
It too now begins to malfunction.
The doll won't go off. Jordan.
What?
Come look. The doll won't go off. We just changed batteries. Look at this.
Wow. Usually she doesn't shut up.
What? You walk in front of it. Okay, hang on. Stay there. Flip it around. I want to just keep this in one shot to see.
Well,
what?
There she goes. Ooh.
But she's not making any noise.
She's not making any noise. That is weird.
What the heck was that?
She's not saying anything.
I scared living. I didn't know that she moved too. Oh, it's afternoon here. Where you are? That's crazy. Where are you?
Whoa.
The motion-activated
Scary.
doll doesn't detect any of the motion that the two friends create in front of it. Then suddenly, without reason, it begins to work again.
Maybe because the lights were off low.
Jordan and Johnny sit down at the hotel beds. That's when they hear something truly bizarre.
Really bizarre.
What is that noise? You hear it still?
Sounds like a tapping. I'll check it out.
Heavy.
Heavy? You hear it still? I can still hear it from here.
Yeah. I'm not exactly sure where it's coming from. It almost sounds like, yeah, like water.
India? Oh, okay, nice.
Oh my god.
Don't scare me.
Nobody.
Real
The soft sound of tapping can be heard coming from somewhere inside.
Wait, I thought the room that they said was 313, not 311. Tomorrow's Friday the 13th, you guys. Oh, today is, I guess. Today's 12. Oh, yeah.
Inside the bathroom, but the two friends can't find the source. A loud sound can be heard from the main door, but they find no one outside in the hallway. Now, that's all very creepy, but did you see it? When Jordan gets up to investigate the tapping inside the bathroom, he walks past a mirror. Yet, he has no reflection, even though earlier and also later in the investigation, his reflection is very clear. Now everything that's happening seems to be centered around Jordan for some reason, almost as if something sinister has attached itself to him, as it did to Christina years earlier. Now perhaps it could all be explained as coincidental equipment failure and a very bizarre compression error, but what happens next is much harder to explain. As the two investigators lay down for the night, they set up
Alistair, hello, hello, how are you?
a laser grid and turn on a motion-activated REM pod and K2 meter. They fall asleep and leave a camera recording throughout the night. At around 4:15 a.m., the REM pod and K2 meter both go off, waking the two guys. What happens next is downright chilling.
Really bizarre.
A shadow figure can be seen obstructing the laser grid and appears to be slowly moving towards Jordan until it seems
Oh.
to be right on top of him. Could this be the haunting apparition of the man that Christina saw in room 313 years earlier? Whatever it is, the Paranormies team did not discover this terrifying figure until after they uploaded their investigation to YouTube. It was pointed out by viewers. So, is room 313 haunted? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. You can watch this entire investigation and much more over on the YouTube channel, Paranormies. Weird World. Now the strangest thing about this next paranormal video might be the source.
This is gonna be my last one.
Because this video was released by the actual mayor of the city of Armenia, Colombia, Jose Manuel Rios. So the security guard in this video says that he saw a male figure descend the stairs inside the mayor's office. He pursues the man, but the guy seems to vanish into thin air. The security guard can be seen on CCTV searching the area, but then things take a
This is the worst camera I've ever seen, ever.
terrifying turn.
What in the name? Did you just push him into the wall? Oh my gosh. They can't get him up.
In the video, the security guard appears to be suspiciously looking around the area, seemingly confused. Then suddenly an unseen force seems to attack the man and throw him into a banner. The guard can be seen looking around in panic with no assailant in sight. He then suffers another attack and two guards hurry over to help him. The somewhat shaken mayor of Armenia says that, quote, a bishop and other
He's stoned.
religious leaders will come to bless the mayor's offices, and that they will, quote, bring God's blessing to every corner of this workspace. Now it seems highly doubtful that the mayor of Armenia, Colombia would suddenly release a fake ghost video. So, just what do you think happened to this security guard? An anonymous woman from Florida is on
At least they know that there's paranormal things and they're not like, oh, this guy is crazy or something.
vacation at the beach when far in the distance along the ocean, she spots something that she simply can't explain. She grabs her phone and begins to record.
I'm gonna analyze this when I get home.
Is everybody else saying that?
Cause that, whatever that is looking for something.
Where'd it go?
Damn, I lost it. Oh my God, it's flying so fast. Where the f did it go?
What?
Oh boy, I'm losing my mind.
An unidentified flying object can be seen hovering above the water. Then, without warning, the flying object suddenly just reverses course and darts away at an incredible speed. So just what do you think this could be? So, analyze this when you get home.
I'm gonna analyze this when I get home.
And then, let me know what you think. In another strange video, Facebook user Eder Olivas is on the road late one night driving down the Saltillo Torreon Highway
I like your sketcha? What do you mean?
in Mexico. Eder is a little drowsy and sees something that he believes might just be an optical illusion, or simply his mind playing tricks on him so late at night. But when he gets home, he decides to check his dashcam footage, just in case. And he's shocked to find that what he saw was very real.
What in the name?
A woman wearing a long white dress can be seen dangerously running down the busy highway. Eder believes
What if it was an actual person and she needed help?
he might have captured a ghost on his dashboard camera and shares this video to Facebook. Now, this stretch of highway has seen countless deadly accidents over the years in which many people lost their lives under horrible circumstances. The accidents happen so frequently on this road that just 10 days after Eder captured this unidentified woman on camera, another woman and her partner lost their lives in a horrible freak accident on the exact same road. So could the Saltillo Torreon highway be haunted by a deadly presence? Let me know what you think.
What the name?
The Little Place in the Woods. Dutch urban explorer Mark Roloff from the YouTube channel Mark Ben Ik travels to a remote abandoned lodge in the countryside of Belgium. Over 10 years ago, a woman named Anne-Sophie fell in love with the rustic house and sunk all of her savings into renovating the property into a countryside restaurant and bed and breakfast. But she was soon met with terrible news. You see, the local township decided to remove the only road that led to her new lodge deep in the woods. After a 4-year battle with the local government and nearing bankruptcy, Anne-Sophie just gave up. Exhausted and defeated, the woman tragically took her own life inside the uncompleted bed and breakfast. Ironically, only 2 weeks after her death, news came down that the township decided that the road was actually going to stay after all.
Oh my
Ever
God.
since her tragic passing, the lodge has been abandoned. Now, Mark Roloff is not a paranormal investigator. He's an urban explorer who searches out hard-to-reach abandoned locations in the Netherlands, Belgium, and Germany, and shares his experiences on his YouTube channel, Mark Ben Ik. This video was supposed to be just like his other explorations, but things took a bizarre turn. After Mark posts this video to YouTube, his viewers noticed some things that he just didn't. And this is when things start to get a bit creepy. As Mark explores the property all alone, it seems that a woman's voice can be heard.
Je houdt het niet bepaald lekker. Wat gaaf dit. Oud VOC-schip.
Now, as I mentioned before, Mark didn't even notice the strange female voice in the background of his video, so he just mixed music right over it. But I went in and edited the audio and attempted to remove most of the music and background noise.
Wat gaaf dit.
Now, it's unclear what the faint female voice is saying, and Mark says he has no idea where the voice could have come from. But that's not all, because Mark captured something else. Something downright chilling.
Ik zie dat die kelder wel onder water staat, dus helaas kan ik die kelder niet meer in. Wel een aparte koelkast trouwens, ze is gewoon helemaal meegemobileerd. Maar daar buiten zijn nog veel meer gebouwen waar ook van alles in zou staan. Dus daar gaan we ook kijken. Maar
Oh my
hier zie je ook een schilderij.
gosh, I would die.
Super mooi, kijk dan. Helemaal geborduurd, dit schilderij.
In the corner, behind the door, the dark figure of a woman can be seen just standing there. Mark has no idea what he has just captured and continues filming, completely unaware of the terrifying apparition that he just recorded. Now, I reached out to Mark and he says that throughout his exploration he felt like something was just a bit off, but he wasn't overly concerned. However, after watching his video back and taking note of what his viewers pointed out, he has no idea what he captured, and to this day, this shadowy figure is a complete mystery. Could it be the tragic spirit of Anne-Sophie still in her failed bed and breakfast? Let me know what you think. Right behind you. Paranormal investigator Ricky Velasquez is challenged to explore an abandoned house in Mexico that is said to be extremely haunted. Ricky's fans don't think he'll be able to stay inside the creepy home for longer than an hour. So Ricky takes the challenge and broadcasts live to YouTube as he heads inside the house. He has no idea why the location might be haunted or what dark history might have taken place there. But he soon realizes that the supernatural rumors about the house might be a bit more real than he thought.
Ok, esto sí me huele mal.
My God. Why are there a bunch of flies on the speakers? Weird.
18 minutos.
18 minutes.
Ricky has been inside for only 18 minutes when he already begins to experience strange phenomena. Somewhere inside the house, he hears a loud bang. So he heads upstairs and continues his exploration.
Hola. Ay, güey. Ok. Pero me han tocado cosas más feas. ¿Qué es un balcón o qué? Un balconcito. Qué gusto está, ¿verdad? Ay, no mames. No, ya valí madre. Oh, la bestia. Se va a caer.
Oh my gosh. Won't he move? It was the dog.
¿Qué mierda es eso?
The paranormal investigator almost falls through the ceiling to the floor below. But that's not the only thing that shocked Ricky's live viewers. Because this time, did you hear it? Right before Ricky nearly falls through the floor, an eerie voice can be heard quietly whispering.
Qué gusto está, ¿verdad?
Still on the second floor, Ricky begins to repeatedly hear strange sounds coming from right behind him. But every time he turns around, no one there. He attempts to get a glimpse at what he's been hearing by pointing the camera at himself and the room behind him.
Right. That's stupid.
No mames.
Did I say that he was gonna fall through the ceiling?
Ok, creo que me está dando pánico. Aquí hay algo más.
Ricky now hears the creepy whispering himself and starts to think that he might not be alone. But he gathers his courage, determined to continue exploring. He heads into the upstairs bathroom, and what happens next is absolutely horrifying.
Hola.
Oh, okay.
Empiezo a sentir helado. ¿Qué se escuchó? Hola.
Why would you turn off the light?
Ricky runs away in abject terror as he sees the pale figure of a woman standing right behind him. When slowing down and enhancing the footage, it almost
Kinda does. And you probably
looks like the strange apparition has one completely empty white eye. So, after only making it 30 minutes inside the abandoned property, Ricky has had enough and just leaves. So is it real? Or is it all just an elaborate hoax? You decide. You can watch this entire video and many more creepy investigations over on the YouTube channel, Ricky Velasquez. Thanks for watching. Please follow the Insta here, follow the Twitter there, and follow the TikTok. Anyway, hopefully see you guys next week.
That's funny. Benga and B Art effortless. Fake top 5. I think the fourth one was real. The one with the guy that just explores places. But yeah. I'm actually gonna end the stream here. Sorry, Blink Man and Ahmad. But let me know if you guys have any requests for videos. I do have a few though, so I probably get to it like in a few days. But thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Vexen. Thank you, everybody. Philosophy, thank you for coming by. Thank you, not me. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, Teddy. You guys are awesome. Probably like maybe tomorrow since it's Friday the 13th. I don't know. We'll see. Alright, everybody. Bye, Alistair. Bye, everybody. Have a good night. Thank you for coming by. Thank you.